you miss me? I've been out of it comatose, but the depression is over.
Hello and welcome to Controlled Burns, the weekly hobbylist podcast from me, your host, Andrew Burns, or Slow Burn from Wildfire Gaming. That's my YouTube handle. I'm excited this week to be joined by a new guest, one of my best friends from my childhood, and coaster and musical enthusiast, Wesley Orr. Thank you for being here.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me.
So I was talking to Wesley a little bit before this, but up to this point, the podcast has pretty much been focused on video games, TV and film, music. We have had some one-offs, including the examination of why Kamala Harris lost the 2024 presidential election, my NFL predictions podcast with Brett last year. So now we're going to do something that is also a bit of a one-off with Wesley, and we are going to rank our favorite roller coasters of all time. Wesley and I are both roller coaster and amusement park enthusiasts. I think between the two of us, though, Wesley has been to a lot more parks than I have.
I don't know the parks, but I'm one away from 250.
Parks.
Roller coaster.
Oh,
No.
Okay, yeah, we should pull that.
Roller coaster.
Let me look. Let me see, because I think my roller coaster. That's definitely nowhere near.
I was hoping to be at 250, but I'm waiting for the right one because that's a big number.
Have you done everything at Over Texas? That's our home park.
Yes.
Six Flags Over Texas. We are in the Dallas area. So I have 106. So Wesley's list is way more vetted than mine is. And there might be some that have slipped through the cracks for me, but I did the best I could to really go through, and I looked up closed roller coasters. And some of the roller coasters on my list today are no longer in operation.
Oh, interesting. I don't think that applies to me.
That's interesting. And maybe that's just nostalgia on my part, but I don't know. There have been some good stuff that I feel like has fallen away over the years. Let's see. What else did I want to bring up? So you mentioned that you have been to all of the U.S. Six Flags.
Yes, correct.
And then you were saying some other ones that you've been, the Cedar Fair stuff.
Yeah, some of the other bigger ones, I guess. I've been to Silver Dollar City, Dollywood.
Oh, I've been to Silver Dollar City. See, I didn't even think. Did they have roller coasters? I didn't even.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Anyway.
No, I did. No, that's not true. I did go back and look at. What was that one that we liked that was in the dark? Fire in the Hole.
Yes, Fire in the
Do you
Hole.
remember that?
I do. They've actually rebuilt that one.
Have they
recently?
So when was that? Because we went to. I guess the two parks that we've been to together. Six Flags Over Texas, and Silver Dollar City.
Fiesta, Texas.
Did we go to Fiesta, Texas?
Oh, not together, I guess, but we've experienced
enjoy
that one.
Joyland.
Joyland.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Wesley.
rest in peace, Joyland. I
Right.
have to
So
mention
so
that
Wesley.
on-
Is your father from West Texas? Like, why
Oh.
did you start going to Joyland? Because
Yeah, I guess
it's in the Lubbock area.
and my great grandparents lived in Lubbock.
Okay,
Um,
which is where Texas Tech is.
Yeah.
He's wearing a Texas Tech shirt right now.
I am, and um, just that was the local park in Lubbock for 50 years. or
Not like a
more.
big park, but
It's family,
Classic.
family style, very, very traditional.
Yeah.
It was awesome though. Awesome vibes. That
Mhm.
place
I did go
Uh,
one time. We went for your birthday.
has an amazing legacy.
Yeah.
But I named the
Daredevil
drop
drop.
power ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Daredevil drop.
I remember when you submitted those because you had multiple submissions, right? It wasn't just Daredevil Drop.
Maybe one other one. But,
But-
yes, I did throw in 2 or 3.
Right.
And
And what was that? That was like
2008.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, 08. And then he got it. So they said we were going to name it Daredevil Drop. And then they
I got
gave
to
us
bring out my friends.
Right.
Andrew included, several other people.
Yeah, and then we all got like a bunch of shirts. It was like those red
Yes,
Daredevil,
uh-huh.
which I don't think I have mine
I don't know.
anymore.
Mine is
Yeah,
honestly
seriously.
either. So
I did have it for a long time though, but that was pretty cool. That was, and then another thing that I remember growing up. So, our moms both taught at the elementary school in the town that we're from, which is Leonard, Texas, very small, and they didn't always teach right across from each other, but eventually they did. And I would go over to Wesley's mom's classroom a lot, and every day Wesley would be on Screamscape.
I would check the amusement
The new-
park news.
the new
yes,
news.
I still do check Screamscape.
That's awesome. I love the fact that Screamscape still exists.
Just a major summary of what's going on. I'm not
Right.
like the most caught up on everything, but
Yeah. And so that was, I guess the last time that we went to a park together was Six Flags Over Texas. I think it was 2015 when we did that.
for a long time.
And it was the first time that you got to ride that Justice League ride that they just put in.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And
that was fun.
yeah, that was fun. That was fun. So what we've done here is we have both put together a list of our top 15 roller coasters specifically.
Correct. Yes, I did not.
Not
We're not
rides.
including dark rides or.
Because my list would be very different if I included.
Yeah.
I actually prefer dark rides, but
Some people do.
I love roller coasters as well. And so we have that, and then we also have our favorite parks. I feel like maybe we should say our parks first, just because it might be a kind of a spoiler for the like. Well,
No, but
it would be. I guess it would just.
a broader topic first.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
So did you just pick one?
Well, I did want to just speak on like Six Flags Over Texas versus Six Flags Fiesta
We
Texas
should.
quickly, just
Okay.
or because
Well, Six Flags Over
Over
Texas is the original.
and our home park,
What was that open in '69 or something?
61.
Wow, 61.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna pull. I have
Or-
Wikipedia pulled up here so to look things up as we go.
Or 63?
Here, I'll look.
I think 61. Um,
I used to go all the time. There were some summers there when I was like in middle school where we went on a very regular basis, but I almost never go anymore.
I actually we're waiting till next year to get our Six Flags pass. This year we're trying SeaWorld.
Oh, really?
So I just recently that's where I got my last few credits. I was hoping to get to 250.
The one-
but some things were down. Yeah, the one in San Antonio.
Okay. What do
Anyway,
they have? They have like the steel eel and the great white and what else? That's all they had. I feel like when I was a kid.
Yeah, they that was it. Like,
Yeah,
basically for a really long time. But they have added like I was hoping to make 250 Texas Stingray, this wooden roller coaster that's
Oh,
there.
interesting. They added a wooden roller coaster.
But it's very like high paced and thrilling.
That's awesome.
I love those still the woodies that give you the
I do
little bit
too.
of a
Mhm.
bump. Anyway, um,
Six Flags Over Texas, by the way, 61.
okay, yeah,
You're
yes.
right. 63 years it's been in operation.
But here's what I feel like. Just because I do like those parks, both of them, we're lucky to have those
Yeah.
close to us.
Mhm.
Fiesta Texas, very colorful, more I feel like more themed, better.
Yes, I think
Um,
maybe back in the day, Over Texas was well themed, but that has really fallen off.
There's
Over
some
the years.
there's some sections that need some work, but
Yeah.
so Fiesta Texas definitely for the aesthetic side of things, and they do have some really thrilling coasters, but they test out a lot of things, so they're like prototype or smaller model. So I actually think I prefer the coaster lineup
At
at
Over
Over Texas.
It's
I
really
feel like there's
interesting.
more of a variety. I feel like
Yeah.
Six Flags Over Texas. I feel like there's kind of more to do there, just overall,
Well, it's
more to take in, and kind of some bigger roller coasters.
that's true. I always think it's interesting seeing like if you go on YouTube and you watch people who are not from here come to and try. They usually go to both.
Yes,
They'll hit
yeah.
both, and they do usually. It seems like prefer Over Texas.
I disagree.
Really, you think that
the people that I
okay,
follow
well,
on
maybe
YouTube and
okay,
the other coaster
maybe I'm
channels,
biased
I
by like
follow,
there's this one
everybody
guy in
loves
particular.
Fiesta Texas, mostly for the operations and like more of that
They
stuff.
have a better operation.
But hopefully,
Well,
I think
hopefully.
I guess mentioning that the merger of Six Flags and Cedar Fair, maybe
Maybe it'll get better.
there is
Their
some-
operations.
There's some progress there, I think, being made.
Yeah, that
at Over Texas.
they-
But all the
keep
enthusiasts
you
that
stuck.
I follow, they all love Fiesta Texas. There's the theming,
that's interesting.
atmosphere. They always say that one
I see
is way better.
Well, that's. I mean, I always kind of thought that, but I thought that it might just be kind of a grass is greener type thing because we don't go there as often.
That's what I was thinking too. Like
Mhm.
I liked that one also better, and I
Mhm.
still probably do. But
Yeah, well, it's definitely. I mean, I've probably been to Fiesta Texas 5 or 6 times. Where Over Texas, I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many times that I've been there. But like I said, I have not been going recently. They have that water thing there that I have not done. What is that?
oh, Aquaman.
Yeah.
yeah. I actually that's my top 4 at the park.
Oh, really?
At Over Texas.
Well, Over Texas, it does kind of because it's been around a long time, so it does kind of have a lot of kind of old, sort of more classic stuff like the Shockwave.
Yes, you can't do that at Fiesta Texas.
Mhm.
Even Titan has some edge over, just being tall, and they're about to open a 300-foot tall dive coaster. Did you know that?
I did hear about
Okay.
that. Where is this going to
So
be?
that'll really push them over where La Vibora was. So they've thrown
Right.
out the bobsled and
That was also unique. That was kind of sad. I'm sure this will be better, but
another not announced one. Speaking of going,
oh, really? And then like Runaway. It's not like a masterpiece, but Runaway Mountain is unique as well.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is like a sort of indoor coaster. I do. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything. I have one roller coaster from Six Flags Over Texas that I selected.
I also did as well.
Okay, that'll
and
be exciting.
But
But that was not my number one park. Obviously, I'm sure
Okay.
it's not yours either.
no, actually, okay. Then, so I wanted to compare the Texas parks because that's kind of what we both frequent the most and know the most. But my favorite overall park, Cedar Point, gets a little bit of an honorable mention shout out, but I'm actually picking Silver Dollar City.
Really?
Silver Dollar City is
When was it?
my favorite park. I just love the
Have you been there
theming.
more recently than when we went?
I did go again in 2023. 13.
Oh, so still a long time ago.
Have I not been again since then? No, that I've been in 2017
Oh, okay.
also. I think I've missed the Time Traveler. I haven't ridden that one.
Okay.
And the new Fire in the Hole
That's interesting.
and the new Rapids thing. But other than that, I think I'm pretty caught up at Silver Dollar City.
What I
I
remember
just love the whole woodsy Ozark
Yeah.
experience.
Well, I do remember that because that was an interesting day. So the reason that we went to Silver Dollar City, what is that? That's in
11 or no, wait.
I think it might have been
2009.
Yeah, my 9 or 10.
Actually,
Yeah, I think yeah.
Wow.
That trip that we went to 11 was much worse.
We didn't do Silver Dollar
I don't
City.
really remember anything that we did in that entire trip, honestly.
They were band trips.
Yeah, right. So we were in the band together in high school and middle school, and that was the first trip that we took under the new director in 2009.
It was fun.
And it was yeah. I remember like when we got there, that wasn't like necessarily planned out ahead of time. We got there and I was like, I might never come here again. I'm gonna try to do everything here. And you were like, me too. Let's do it together. And so we did. Like the whole day we stuck together and did pretty much.
And I guess
everything.
that since then it surprised me because I think before then I didn't really know anything about that place.
Yeah, I
So
didn't either.
So I love just like finding something so cool that I knew nothing about.
I feel like I don't know if it was the first thing we did, but the thing that really sticks out in my mind, Fire in the Hole, but also the giant swing.
Yes,
You
I
remember
love
that?
those.
Yeah.
I love those. Yeah.
But that's your number one for just overall and
Park.
Okay.
It's Silver Dollar City, and one of my coasters is from there too.
That's exciting.
So it'll come up again.
Yeah, I don't because it's been like I said, it's been over 15 years since I've been 16 if it was 2009. So I don't like I said I don't remember it super well, but I do remember having a lot of fun that day. But I picked two different parks. One of them I picked for favorite roller coasters, like the overall best place to go for roller coasters. And then I picked another one that is just my favorite just in general. And that one I don't think has anything on my list because it's not a big roller coaster park, but it is my favorite park. So I guess I'll start with the roller coaster ones just because I like the other one more technically. And I looked at this. I basically made this based on the ones that had multiple coasters on my list. And so there was a clear winner. I thought that so the contenders were SeaWorld Orlando, Six Flags Great Adventure, Universal Islands of Adventure, but the winner was Six Flags Magic Mountain.
I think when you speak about coasters, that one is strong. I would
Right.
probably say that one too.
That's another one that I have not been to in a really long time, though. I think it might have also been 2009.
No, surely you've been since
It
then.
was right when Michael Jackson died. I remember that because they were playing his music nonstop.
You haven't been back.
I don't think so. I think maybe Tatsu was the new thing then.
Yeah.
I did X2
Or-
was there.
Mhm.
I did that.
There's a few credits I'm missing from there, but I do have some of the newer ones like Full Throttle.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe that's the only really
Oh,
newer one I
okay.
have.
Well, at the time, weren't they kind of the one that was? I've heard that kind of in like the 2000s, there was a kind of a big coaster war.
Oh,
type
yeah,
thing going
absolutely.
on, and Magic Mountain was kind of the Six Flags standard bearer. I feel like because
Right,
they have
yes.
just a
They
ridiculous
have so many.
right,
And a wide
and then
variety.
and then they were against Cedar Point,
Yes.
which also is a really great coaster place.
Capital. America's
Is that what they
Roller
say?
Coast.
See, I've only been there once as well, and that was also like 10 years ago.
Oh.
So like what's that one that everybody thinks is really great? I don't know if it's on your list or anything, but there's like one of those RMC hybrids there with the wooden that they made steel.
At Cedar Point.
Yeah,
Steel Vengeance.
Phil Vengeance.
Yes, that's a lot of I know
I
several.
love people. See, I did not do that because it was before.
Yeah,
that wasn't
several enthusiasts. That's their number one.
Mhm.
I also haven't been since it's been converted.
really?
So I don't have that credit.
Yeah, the ones that stuck out with me there because I don't think any of these. Oh, I do have. Okay, yes, I do have one from Cedar Point on here, but I also remember really enjoying Magnum XL.
Yes,
because it was. I
That's
really liked how it
honorable
went. I
mention.
liked how it went by the water, which I thought was really cool.
Scenery matters.
And then I really like I think the new thing there when I was there was the gatekeeper
That I've done that.
goes around the gate. It like had a lot of problems when I was there.
Oh.
Like in terms of just it was like kind of like Mr. Freeze. It shut down a lot. But
Really interesting.
well, it was new, so that might have had something to do with it. I guess we should mention Wesley has worked at Six Flags Over Texas
Yes, in 2009,
around that
into
period.
summer of 2010.
And what did you operate there?
First, the snow hill, the sled hill.
You were the only person I've ever done that sled hill with.
I really wish you had.
It was fun.
This, and then The kiddie rides.
The kiddie rides?
Yes, because I had a friendly personality.
Right.
So
So the little
I've
orange.
also worked at Joyland we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
I actually worked there the very last season. It was
Really?
open. That was
Did
very
you work there to
special.
drop?
I was trained on it. I actually usually ran the Music Express.
Okay.
So that I had to mention that because that's way better than Snow Hill and the kiddie rides. But
Sure.
Music Express operator, you are the DJ, you're the,
Yeah.
hype
That's
person,
fun.
you have to speak.
Hmm. Okay.
It was fun. I'm glad I got to do that and be a
Well, I'm
part of
glad that I
that.
also got to visit Joyland before it was closed down. So I have
Yes,
that.
very
I
sad.
have that
If
experience.
any investor happens to be listening,
Yeah, is that stuff still there?
no, they've already auctioned that off. But the
Oh.
Lubbock market does need an amusement park, and
Mm.
I'm willing to be the lead designer or like the creative behind this project. So if you want to get
Well,
this
that'd be wonderful.
going,
Yeah, all you
again,
investors
Wesley
listening right
Orr,
now.
put my contact information in the
Okay, I
comments or
will.
something.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of
I don't
value
want to
from
say
that,
it.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but my favorite park overall is what I did want to mention has not very good for roller coasters, but it is my favorite, and I don't think you've been there. Is Epcot, Disney's Epcot.
I have not. I have not.
It is my favorite park overall. It's really unique the way that it's set up. So it's basically split into two halves. One half is kind of futuristic and it's sort of split into different lands. So there's well, no, it's not. I don't guess they call them lands. They call them pavilions. They're split up into different pavilions. There's the land pavilion, which is my favorite building in maybe the world. There is
Really?
well,
Okay.
I really like everything in there. It's very devoted to like environmental stuff. There's like a really good movie in there that you go in and see, like that this talks about that. Then there's a dark ride, a boat ride that you go through, and it goes through like their greenhouse and like all the stuff that they're growing there. And then they have two restaurants in that pavilion, and one of them is actually really, really great. And it's kind of expensive, but you go, I always go.
Well, of course, it's Disney.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's also like a typical foods,
Yes.
that like a little food court down there that you could also get. They say that the food that they grow is also used to supply that, so maybe it's better than the rest. I don't know, but it's this above all the restaurants at at Disney World. This one is my favorite in this building, and it spins a little bit, and like there's like a little you actually get to
Interesting.
see the beginning of the boat ride. Like
Cool.
it's very cool.
Yeah.
And the food is really excellent. And then there's also this thing called Soar in there, which is very, very popular
Yes.
attraction.
Yes.
So
I
that-
haven't been there. I prefer like when I'm picking where I'm going to go, I'm more looking for those big thrills. I
Right.
know, I'm sure I would love the Disney thing.
I think
Maybe
you
one day
would.
I'll get there.
I think you should go,
yeah.
but it is not a thrilling.
I've watched lots of
place.
reviews.
Yeah.
Shout out to Canopy Coaster's my favorite.
Well,
There's lots of good
they
reviews.
they did just put in a roller coaster, the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I've heard, yes, he's spoken about that
It
one.
was cool.
Yeah.
I did it one time because it was really hard to get in.
I've heard the
But Reagan
review.
and I went to Disney and Universal for our
Yeah.
honeymoon.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because she worked in the parade, the holiday parade at Universal.
Oh, really?
And so then like years, I think it was 2018, 2019.
That's awesome.
Or something. So yeah, so she has a lot of nostalgia for Universal, and I had a lot of nostalgia for Disney.
And they have the new Epic Universe.
Right,
too that's been
that was
getting
before
rave reviews.
Right, that we went in 2023, so
Yes.
so we did not see that, but we were there on New Year's Eve, and it
You helped fund the Epic Universe.
yeah, I guess we did in some small way. But by the end of that trip, even she was like, "Yeah, Disney's better." So, but you have been to Universal, right?
No.
See, that is
Or
very...
SeaWorld Orlando.
The
You said.
Universal does have thrills.
I don't have any Florida credits, actually.
How can that be? It's the amusement park capital of the world.
I've been wanting to go.
Yeah, you should. You should go on a trip and just hit them all. Just nail them on a
Some of those could probably shatter my.
Doesn't it also have like Busch Gardens or something in Florida?
I know I've never done a Busch Gardens.
I haven't done that. But I have been to SeaWorld there. Their SeaWorld is way better than ours in terms of
I know.
Unless the new ones are really great. I haven't. Like I said,
They're good, but there's still a big gap there.
They might. Well, actually, I will say this since it's not on my list, but literally the one that was closest to making my cut, my top honorable mention,
Okay.
was the Kraken at SeaWorld Orlando.
Really?
Have you heard
I'm
of that?
Surprised that you picked that one. That one's getting old by now.
It probably is, but it was a long time ago when I went. So.
Oh, that's okay.
But it's like it's a floorless.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Several inversions.
One of my favorite. Yeah, and that was kind of fun too because
some underground portions.
Yeah,
tunnels.
It was really cool. Part of it was when I think about it, like it had a good atmosphere because it just happened to be like really overcast that day. And so it kind of added to the
yeah.
theming I felt.
You do get some of that.
Yeah, and it was also fun because this was back when we did this stuff the most. Like a lot of our family trips were going to various amusement parks. This is around the time we also went to King Kong, or did
Yeah,
King.
okay.
That was the reason that we went, was to do King Kong. And Mom she had actually built up a pretty big tolerance because she was not a big rider, but she liked the Kraken a lot. So that was part of
Wow.
the thing there. But yeah, Epcot, I guess last thoughts on Epcot, I really just talked about the land, but they have like the sea and they have other stuff in the kind of the future world. There's like a really cool like going to space simulator thing that's very cool. But then it also has the World Showcase where it's like a bunch of different countries and it has good rides, but also just really good atmosphere. Like there's like shows and things.
Immersive.
Yeah. I actually I'm not a very patriotic, but there's the America show there is fantastic. There's no way that you wouldn't like it. As a fan of musicals, you would really enjoy it. All original music.
I'm sure. Yeah, that would be an aspect I would like to experience.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. Okay, so if we're gonna get in our top 15 now. You're the guest, so I feel like you should go first.
Okay.
Your number 15. You already spoiled it for me. This is the only one I know on your list.
Correct. Top Thrill Dragster.
Yeah.
Cedar Point. I haven't done the conversion to Top Thrill.
What do they call that?
Top Thrill 2.
Top Thrill 2, okay.
With the triple launch sequence.
But you did get a rollback once.
I have had a Top Thrill Dragster rollback.
That's pretty awesome.
That probably influences this. And then over King to Call, I didn't put King to Call on the list.
I also did not even consider King to Call because I prefer
those over the shoulder restraint, the view. You know, it's cooler looking over at the ocean and the peninsula than the forests of New Jersey.
Yeah, the swamp. And it's funny because I actually did King to Call first before Top Thrill Dragster, and so you would think then that I would prefer it, and it did have the little hill at the end that didn't really add much, but
yeah,
aesthetically was fine. But
it looked like there's more to it.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a very steep hill, was it?
Doesn't feel like there's much more to it.
No. But Top Thrill, I think the reason that I like it more, kind of what we were saying before we started, is right in the middle of the park. You just are walking by, you see, you're like, I'll just bump in there and just
I have to do this.
I liked the song that they played there, that Ready to Go song. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, well,
I just remember when
I've
ridden it. I just remember the countdown. Like,
yeah,
I don't know,
and it has stands, which I think is where
that
woman was when she got like hit in the head by the. Well, that's a shame. Sorry that happened. But anyway, I also really love Top Thrill Dragster for many of the same reasons.
Yeah.
My number 15. This is an interesting one, and I've got Wikipedia pulled up just because I'm not as familiar with all of them because they're all stuff that it's been a long time since I've done them.
Yeah, it's important to double check.
But this one is at Six Flags Great Adventure, which is the park that had King to Call.
Yes.
And so while King to Call was the reason that we went, my actual favorite ride there, and I don't think it's called this anymore, was Bizarro at Six Flags Great Adventure. But now I think it's like Superman,
it's
right?
Medusa.
Oh, it's Medusa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Painted green and...
See, for me, it was purple. But the thing that I really liked about that one... So yeah, here it is.
That version.
Medusa was refurbished over the off-season and returned in 2009 as Bizarro. And that was... I think I went in 2011. So I guess it was still Bizarro.
I think that it was Bizarro during my experience.
What I really liked about Bizarro...
interesting choice.
It is a weird pick, right? Obviously, I haven't done any rides yet. But what I really liked about it is that everything... Okay, so at Six Flags Over Texas, even the stuff that's supposed to be themed, like, never really works. Like, there's nothing... They're roller coasters and nothing else, basically. I think there used to be themed elements for, like, our log ride. I think we have the original log ride, right?
Yes.
So we do have a lot of old, cool stuff. But that used to be themed, I'm told. But now it's just you go through the log ride and there's nothing to see other than just trees. But what I really liked about Bizarro is that it had all these effects and they all worked just exactly as they were supposed to. It had a little song that it played.
In a minority to experience it.
Okay, well, everything worked perfect whenever I did it. I don't
know if I have heard. I think one or two of the main, like the flame or the something, are still going. But yeah, I don't think there's sound.
And there was mist that you went through, I'm pretty sure, at one point. There was music playing. And it kind of was a surprise for me because I wasn't really expecting anything much about it. But also, like, I remember there being a lot of kind of low to the ground moments because it is a dangle coaster. And I feel like the one that we're most used to is Batman, obviously, at Six Flags Over Texas, which is the kind of the garden, like they're all kind of the same, right? Like there's a bunch of those clones.
The clone of the Batman clone. Yeah,
Right.
very, but it's very forceful, very
Yeah, but Bizarro,
inspired.
I just really liked a lot of the elements
Yeah,
that
there's lots
they
of
had.
inversions.
Lots of inversions. You go low to the ground, like
The low turns.
I remember there being like low turns and stuff.
Mhm.
So I just remember that being a surprise of how much I enjoyed that. So for that reason, Bizarro, it
That's
stuck with me after all these years.
interesting. I think actually I think that's a clone of Scream at
That's
Magic
interesting
Mountain.
because I really like Scream,
Okay,
but
okay.
it was not as well themed as
Well,
Bizarro.
absolutely not. That's
Yeah.
a joke, a running joke with that coaster.
It just has no theme.
It's a parking lot coaster. Okay.
It totally is. That's funny because I remember so this where Scream you say at Magic Mountain?
Scream
Is it
is
Magic
the
Mountain?
same layout, I
Right.
believe, as the
Well,
Medusa.
that was something because
at
Magic Mountain also
Great
had
Adventure.
is it Magic Mountain or Goliath or Great Adventure that's Goliath? Is one of the two, which is
Magic
basically a
Mountain.
Titan clone.
Magic Mountain has Goliath.
It's so interesting
Titan
because that really was interesting reframing for me because for us, like I remember when the Titan was constructed and it was a really big deal. It was the
Yes,
tallest
yeah.
roller
Oh,
coaster
yeah.
in Texas, and still is for now, right?
Right.
But and it's always been a big attraction for Six Flags Over Texas. Like you never go to Six Flags and not do the Titan.
Yeah,
But like,
actually, it's grown on me. I like it.
but at Magic Mountain, it was just like an afterthought. You just got right on it, like
Right. Yeah.
And that's how it was for Scream as well. And I remember thinking, man, this is great. I remember thinking it was very. I felt like it was very similar to the Superman ride at.
It's that style.
Yeah, but that
At
one,
Fiesta, Texas.
that one is cool because they use the quarry wall or whatever.
It is cool.
But this might be my only dangling
That's called floorless.
floorless. It might be my no. There is another one actually. There's actually a couple others, but this might be my only one that still exists. But obviously, I've not done it as Medusa.
I don't believe I picked any
You're not? Are you not a fan? of
floorless coaster.
Well, Bizarro is not floorless though. There's a difference between floorless and
Inverted.
inverted. Right?
No, at Great Adventure, that Bizarro is floorless.
Is it floorless?
It's
Oh, okay.
like, yeah,
Well,
Superman.
you would know better than me.
It's like Superman at Fiesta, Texas.
Whenever I did, so in that trip we went to Six Flags Great Adventure. Then we also went
Because
to
Great Adventure has a Batman clone. It's
Yes.
their inverted coaster.
Oh yeah, of course. We also went to another Six Flags on that trip, and I think it was in Massachusetts.
Yeah, New England.
Yeah, I think it was, and I remember thinking that one was not very good, but it did have the more traditional Superman ride that also was called Bizarro at the time.
Yes.
Whenever I went. Okay,
It's coming up.
great. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, what's your 14?
This. Oh, and I meant to say this kind of before we got into the list, but my whole list is kind of like more of a variety. I also tried to think about instead of
But you have more room to do that because
repeating duplicates.
'cause you have
But just as I'm going, like that was also a consideration. I picked like if I could only have these 15 roller coasters, these are the ones I want.
okay, but still no floorless. That's very interesting.
Correct. Okay. So number 14 is New Texas Giant at
New Texas Giant.
Six Flags Over Texas.
That's such an interesting pick.
I haven't done some of the other RMC conversions, but
I
that
haven't.
one-
I think it's the only one.
That one's a
I
classic.
think it's the only one I've done. It was the original, right?
You've probably done the Iron Rattler.
I haven't. I've only done
You have
the
not been to
original.
Fiesta, Texas yet since then.
I haven't.
Really? Oh my goodness.
I
Okay.
really liked the regular Rattler though, or the
I actually liked the original Texas Giant as well. I
loved it.
I love those.
But it was you knew your day was kind of fucked up after.
The old Woody.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old Woody.
Well, that one in
Love
particular,
the-
toward the end, it was brutal.
I just liked how long it was. Like,
It
it's
is,
something
yeah.
about the RMC conversions I'm a little particular with is that I wish they didn't have to shorten them. But it does keep the speed up. They do keep their speed really well. But
Yeah, that's true.
But there's one lap missing on that Texas Giant from the original.
Mm.
But anyway, I picked the new Texas Giant. There's more thrilling RMCs out there, I'm sure. But that
Sure.
one's just like stand out to me because it was the first
The
one
original. That is cool.
of that kind of coaster, and the airtime's great. I love all the hills. I mean,
And very
especially that
steep first drop.
mid drop hill. There's that mid drop hill right under the lift hill. That one's a really fun one.
That is a fun one. I always remember, even in the original Texas Giant, I really enjoyed the ending, like the last
yes,
little bit.
Some
'Cause you
people
go
have
so fast.
Some people have complained it's slowed down lately.
Well, it was
ending.
fast back
Yeah.
in the day.
I mean, I don't mind them. I don't mind hopping over them slowly either.
Mhm.
I like why I picked this RMC over some others. The trains are the Gerstlauer trains, or the different, more comfortable
Right.
trains.
Yeah.
Edward's nodding because he probably doesn't know the difference.
No, I have heard of the Gerstlauer trains.
Oh, okay.
I think the reason that I know about the Gerstlauer trains is I was watching a documentary about the Son of Beast, and they changed their trains at one point, either from or to Gerstlauer. I can't remember which.
I don't know that
Did,
coaster's history. I
did
have
you?
not
You
been
never did
Son
Son of
of
Beast,
Beast? No.
but you done the Beast.
The Beast, yeah.
Yeah,
I have done the
Son of
Beast.
Beast was. Well, I mean, it was kind of a disaster. Like,
From what I hear.
yeah, and so it's very interesting. If you want to watch a good documentary about a roller coaster, Son of Beast, I highly recommend it. But okay, so that's the new Texas Giant. I love that. I have a lot. I agree with you. I have a lot of nostalgia for the original Texas Giant, but I
And-
do love the new one. It's still kind of fresh for me because I haven't gone as much since
Mhm.
they changed it. So
The new one I did want to throw in, I think, is also my top at Six Flags Over Texas.
okay,
And I only won from that one on this park. I
That's
mean,
fair.
from that park
yes,
on this list.
I thought about the new Texas Giant. I did
So
not
maybe that's
include
why I
it.
included it because I just wanted to include
Well, I
the home
noticed-
park, the park
Right.
close to.
I have noticed that when people come, it seems like that is the most common pick of their
But
favorite.
that's my number one at Over Texas.
Love it. My number 14 is a ride that no longer is in operation, as far as I know. When I did it, it was at Six Flags Magic Mountain. It is, you're going to think it's a funny pick, I bet. It is Deja Vu.
I don't think that's a funny pick.
Do you remember? So you've done this?
I think more experienced enthusiasts would not have this in their list.
I-
But
I know it's not very popular.
I have experienced a deja vu. I can't
Okay.
remember. I'd have to look at my actual count to see which one, but I have experienced that, and it was a thrilling experience. I did love it. I loved it more than those vertical drops are awesome.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because from what I remember, it was basically an inverted version of the flashback, right?
Right. And all the boomerang clones, the boomerang
The
clones
boomerang clones. That's right. We call it the flashback, or I call it the flashback because
from
that's-
Over Texas.
Over Texas,
which is
Flash-
still running at St. Louis.
they St.
That
Louis
same
got it.
one.
That's
That same
very
one.
interesting. Well, good for them. I hope that it's smoother than it was when it was at 6 months. Texas.
But those are thrilling experiences.
I never really loved the flashback, to be honest. I liked it okay, but it was just kind of something. It's like, okay, if I'm in that area, I'll do it. But I was really shocked by how much more thrilling it became.
But just by doing it,
Yeah,
inverted,
because it did
drop.
go up really high on
Yes.
the flat, when you would
Bike.
when you would go from the beginning, and then also when you would
Yeah.
flash back, I guess. And it was only that one trip where I was able to do it. I might have only done it once, might have been a couple times, and it was another one of those rides that, for Magic Mountain standards, it seemed like was a little bit more of an afterthought than obviously the more high.
Themed rides.
Yes, like X2 and stuff. But I really I think maybe part of the getting on my list is just me like exceeding my expectations. And that
Yeah.
was one that really
Absolutely.
really
yeah.
exceeded my expectations.
I think there's one still operating in the US.
Is that right?
At
I did-
Silverwood in Idaho.
I
And
did not know that.
the one I did was in Magic Mountain also. I looked at my notes.
Okay. Yeah, a giant
Inverted
inverted boomerang
boomerang.
is what it is called
Mhm.
officially.
See if that's the one that got moved to
It says as of June 2025, 3 installations are operating in the world. Yeah, okay. So Deja Vu at Six Flags Magic Mountain was the first to open. It opened on August 25th, 2001, but it was removed and relocated to Six Flags New England as Goliath. Why do they call everything Goliath? Why is that a thing?
2001.
Yes, but why? Have you noticed that? Like at Six
Why do they
Flags,
move it?
No, Six Flags, they have so many different rides called Goliath.
Yeah, it's annoying.
It is. It's like you say Goliath, and it's like, well, what are you talking about? There's dozens of them.
Maybe they'll fix that going forward.
They should. Should. Yeah. So anyway, I really enjoyed Deja Vu. There's a picture of it. I'm very nostalgic for it. That's the green. That's how I remember it. The green and blue
Yeah, yeah.
color scheme.
Still what it has when it got relocated to Silverwood too, the one that's there.
Okay.
Is actually from Great America.
And it is Vekoma is the manufacturer.
It's the same as the boomerang.
In case you were curious.
Okay.
Okay. Well, great. So that's my number 14.
Yes, interesting.
I know it's a
But yeah, no, that's a thrilling experience. I would love to. My bucket list is to go to Silverwood and get that.
You said that was in Iowa?
Idaho.
Oh, Idaho. I don't think I've been to
yes.
Idaho.
Okay, wait. Now I have to go back to my list for 13. We're on 13.
We're on 13.
All right, this is Storm Runner at Hershey Park.
I think I have done Stormrunner.
Um,
Let me go to my credits.
Launch coaster. I do this. This made the list because I wanted to include some launch coaster.
Is this the one that has like it kind of has a little bit of a Top Thrill element to it,
Yes,
where it's obviously not as high, but
and like I think a stronger kick at the beginning,
Mm.
maybe even, and then the similar top hat first.
You know
like
what-
a Outer Banks.
what's funny about that is I went to Hershey Park once. It was on the same trip where I went to Six Flags Great Adventure, and so that was the thing that we were most excited about was doing the EPCOT, which of course was the tallest and fastest roller coaster in the world at that time, and when we got to Hershey Park and we saw the Storm Runner, we were like, "Well, look at this! It's like get us ready for it." So I do remember thinking that was really
Get
cool
you ready for which one?
for the King Kong, because it had like
Yeah,
the same
um,
what is that called?
top hat.
Yeah, the top hat.
I think an Outer Banked top hat because
Yes.
the top hat is an inversion. I think
Right,
to go
like
upside down.
Mr. Freeze.
So an Outer Banked top hat. But yeah, I like the launch. I did already have a launch coaster, the Top Thrill Dragster, but this one has a couple more elements.
Okay.
A little bit longer.
Yeah.
Punchier.
I do remember it being
Some
really great.
enthusiasts say it's short. It is short, but I mean, it's more than Top Thrill, or it's more.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. That's how my mom convinced herself to do King Ka on that trip because Brandon like really wanted her to do it because he was like, this is it. It's the
Help
tallest
you.
roller coaster in the world. How could you pass it up? And mom watched it go and she was like, well, what is that? Like 25 seconds? I think I can handle it for 25 seconds. And so she did. So she has that credit.
Shout out to my partner Isaac. He has also he's not a big roller coaster fan, but he
did King Ka.
no, but he's really opened his mind to like if they're quick, he'll get on the big thrilling
Okay.
ones, or like he's done some. I'm really proud of him. He's ridden some thrilling
That is awesome.
attractions when
Okay.
they're short, like your mom said. So
Right. Yes.
good. I recommend anybody listening that if you don't want to do the scary things, if they're short, maybe that's where you should start.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good advice.
Those launch ones are pretty short.
They go pretty fast.
Over quickly.
Number 13 for me. This is a pick that is kind of, it's interesting. Like I feel like with the big enthusiast like you probably wouldn't include this on the list, but it's more of like a pick that a filthy casual like me would make.
Okay.
Number 13, I have X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
No, I think that's probably low.
Well, it's just, I think in terms of like the mechanics of a really great roller coaster, I do think it gets by a little bit on its gimmicks.
You prefer airtime.
Yeah.
Or that's when I hear other enthusiasts talk about it, like they have a preference for inversions
Sure.
or the airtime.
But at the time, I mean, now you see more of like, what do they call them? The 4D coasters
Mhm.
where your
Well-
seats flip.
Which are not actually 4 dimensions. Because it doesn't show on this axis.
Yeah, that's a good point. But
I just realized that too, someone else.
but X was the original, right, to do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously at a much larger scale than what you normally see with like the little Joker.
Way better.
With
Yeah.
the-
I actually don't care for those little the
Mhm.
little 4D coaster.
Right.
I
Like we
really
got at Six Flags Over Texas.
I don't like the disorientation of like flip or I mean it's cool. I don't mind the flips, but
Mhm.
I'm not
I-
really looking for that on a roller coaster.
From what I could tell, though, it seemed like they were a little bit more planned out on X2.
Yes,
Like they knew when you were going to flip.
the rotations are controlled.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that was another one that kind of like Bizarro, but to a higher degree, had a lot of elements going on beyond just the seat flipping.
Mhm.
They had like, because I never did the original X with the pink color scheme.
No, me either. I think it was X2 when I first
Yeah,
rode it.
and that like enhanced. Well, I was a big Aerosmith fan growing up, and they do a little Aerosmith thing going down whenever you drop.
I think that effect is probably
you got a kick out of that.
long gone.
Oh, okay. Well, it worked at the time.
If I had to guess.
And then it had like flames shooting out at you stuff.
I
But-
think that effect also maybe
Well,
I don't know.
I guess I did it at its peak.
Yeah.
But
So I'm surprised it's not higher for you. It's
one
higher
thing-
for me.
One thing that I remembered about it that really stuck out to me is, I would go with my stepdad. That he was a big coaster person, and so he was the one that was like kind of behind taking us all these things, and he was always like, you never saw him react to anything like in the pictures, like
just riding the coaster.
yeah, he's always just like looked just totally bored, and he did not look bored on X2. So that really stuck out to me.
It's a very insane experience if you've never done something like that
I
before.
still think maybe, for my money, the most intense ride I have done.
Okay,
Because
good.
it's pretty long.
that's
too,
worth saying.
For
Yeah, you get several. I mean, it probably
it's
does
surprisingly
two
tall
ovals maybe.
as well. Like what is it, 200 something? I'll look it up.
It probably is near the 200 mark if it's not over.
And like it has a really steep drop at the beginning.
Yes,
which
vertical.
I love
I'm pretty
that.
sure it's vertical.
Yeah.
And I love the way that you are flipped on that first drop. I love the look.
Yeah, you flip
You
like kind of.
never. I can't think of another experience of rotating from because you're laying on your back going up the lift hill,
Right.
and then you flip forward into the drop and go straight down.
Yeah.
Like that.
That is intense. But then you like flip in while you're dropping, don't you?
Yeah, I think it finishes the flip at the bottom.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. Yeah.
But it just starts with that, like it flips you straight into looking at it. Very, very intense, very unique.
Okay. So the height is 175 feet, but the drop is 215 feet.
Okay, so technically a hypercoaster.
That's right.
An enthusiast may say.
It says 2 inversions, but I guess it's not counting the.
It just means
seats.
in the track,
Mhm.
right? I wonder that's interesting to count how many times because it is a controlled.
Right. I
Just
think that helps a lot
same experience.
instead of like the randomized.
Those freestyles,
Yeah.
or whatever they free spins. I don't like them.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, next two. So it's also on your list. That's something to look forward to. But number 12.
All right, number 12, I picked Voyage, the Voyage at Holiday Worlds.
Okay, I have not done the voyage.
Long, incredibly long.
I feel like I may have heard it before. Okay,
Yeah.
wooden
roller coaster. And I think since my list, I was kind of looking for variety. I think that's probably another reason I picked this one to go in here.
The
Just got to
Voyage.
include the wooden coasters. I didn't include any of like the GCI Twister wooden roller coasters.
Okay.
But I do appreciate wooden roller coasters. So I wanted to put
I do
one.
too.
I wanted to put at least one on the list. So
I have some woodies on mine as well.
right here, number 12.
Very interesting. So it opened in 2006. It's cool that they're still opening wooden roller coasters, and like
Yeah.
not the 90s or
Right.
in the 1900s.
Yeah.
Because most of them are not. But oh look, it was widely considered one of the best wooden roller coasters ever built and was awarded by Time Magazine as the best roller coaster in the world in 2013.
Yeah.
The Voyage.
It has lots of acclaim.
Very interesting.
It's long. It has good night rides. Like lots of.
There is something to be said about doing a woody at night.
You go out in the woods. Yeah. I think that's probably why I picked it over the more modern, like smaller Twister wooden roller coasters.
I see. Yeah, I see a
Also
picture.
fun.
I see a picture over here. It's like a lot of trees in the area.
Yeah,
That is very
yeah.
cool. Got some side
But I mean, I haven't ridden the Voyage in a while, so I don't know how it's riding.
90-degree
today.
banked turns.
Yes.
That's cool.
Fun.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
does sound fun. Okay, my number 12 is the first duplicate. Is Top Thrill Dragster,
Okay.
and a lot of the same reasons, like we said. I think just I don't think it would have been my list if it wasn't right in the middle of the park. Like you just walking by and then you're just like boom. Let's
And
let's
even now, I wonder what it looks like with two big spires. 'Cause
I do
there's
too.
one on the back side
Yeah.
now. That's probably
But
amazing.
I also really loved the theming of it. I just thought that was so clever compared to King Ka. I liked the song they played, but apparently it didn't stick with you. But I really like the song they play in the line.
I
And
just remember the countdown.
it's just such a party atmosphere when you go to Top Thrill Dragster. Everybody's just like it's just happy
They
to
can't
be
wait.
there.
There's that excitement there to get on
Mhm.
there. Yeah.
Right. So for those reasons, I really like it a lot.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad it made your list also.
Mhm. So you're on 11.
Are we yeah, I was gonna say we're ready for 11. Okay. 11, I picked Tatsu at Six Flags
Very
Magic
interesting.
Mountain.
I really love Tatsu as well.
Flying coaster.
Um,
Again, kind of for variety, it got
This was
in here.
This was the first flying coaster I ever did.
But I love that one. I haven't done the one at SeaWorld Orlando.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not as good as Tatsu.
Okay. Yeah, I just love that you're up there on that mountain, that pretzel loop up there on that big
Oh my
mountain.
gosh, that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Is that the one where it's like
the pretzel loop where you like eat your stomach.
yeah, that is such a cool element. I think whenever I went, I gotta.
So I had to put a flying coaster on my top
if
list.
I can figure out when that opened because
I think 2006.
okay, because
Test me.
I know it was it was 2006. Very good.
Wow.
I knew it was pretty new when I was there, so I did it like I said. I think it was 2009. I might have to look up what Michael Jackson did.
I think that's about the year I went also.
That'll.
But I have ridden it since 2009 and it still is an amazing experience.
I like the theming of it. I like the dragon thing with the orange.
I mean, that you're more of like the color scheme.
Okay, fair.
Because there's not really, I wouldn't say
There's no theme in the ride itself.
or
but-
even the queue doesn't really.
Okay, fair enough. But like I remember
The color scheme.
I remembered that it was like the name of a dragon.
Yeah,
like
the
that was
Tatsu, the flying lizard dragon.
that stuck out with me more than most, I guess. But yes, the thing that I remember the most about it was the first time, like I said, that I had done a flying coaster, so obviously it was very memorable. But I definitely remember that loop, like
The pretzel loop.
That
Mhm.
was really cool. I really love Magic Mountain. Okay, so my number 11. I'm sure you have done this. I wonder if I bet you like it. I don't know if it's on your list or not. Number 11 is Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure.
When I was first doing rough drafts, I did consider it, but I didn't put it in. I haven't ridden it in such a long time.
I haven't either.
But that one almost made my list because there will be some like it that is probably my favorite type of roller coaster. I love those B&M hypercoasters.
B&M hypercoasters, awesome airtime
Yeah.
in Nitro. And this was another one where it was, like I said, my mom was like she had really built up her tolerance for this stuff. So she really liked the Nitro. And
That's awesome.
I know. And
Good for your mom.
I just remember that being very, like, we did the Nitro a lot because of that. And every time I was like, gosh, this is so good.
I don't think I rode it too. I should have reridden it more.
And
I don't know.
it also was kind of in the woods.
It does.
So
Yeah,
it kind of
out
felt
there.
like a wooden roller coaster in a way, like the way that it's designed. Because it's not like doing a bunch of flips like you normally would see in a steel coaster. It was mostly just hitting airtime over and over again in the woods.
Nitro's pretty close, but I had to cut it.
Mm-hmm.
It was considered.
Well, I'm glad that it was considered. I really like it a lot. I remember like the restraints also
And I think
being...
it's one of the more earlier
yeah, it says it was
hypercoasters.
2001.
Yeah,
So,
that was kind of
pretty good. That's like
I
probably
think the
shortly
first
after
one was 2000 or
was Magnum XL, right? Was that the
well, I'm
original?
talking about from that particular brand
Oh, okay.
from B&M.
B&M.
I know I think Raging Bull was one of the first.
Did they do the Titan? B&M.
No, the Titan's kind of like a one and done from a
Oh, that's very interesting.
what is it, Giovanola or something.
Okay. Wow.
They might manufacture other parts or something, but no, not
So this one, it
Related.
goes, the height is 230 feet. It drops 215.
230 on the Nitro. Okay,
Mhm.
nice.
So it's 200 to be a hyper, right?
Correct. Hypercoaster.
It's never won, according to this, what is it? The Golden Ticket Awards. You ever pay attention to the
It has never won, you said?
It has never won the Golden Ticket Awards. The closest it came was in 2007 through 2012. It was all consistently ranked third.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Then ending up at 11 is good on someone's top 15.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're number 10.
My number 10 is the style of Nitro,
Okay.
actually. I guess this is probably the one I picked to throw another one in here. This is going to be Diamondback at Kings Island.
Okay. I have heard of Diamondback.
I have not been there since they've added Orion. At the same park, they have the same type of coaster.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I might even be 300.
Oh my gosh, it has the exact same metric
That's
as
okay.
230 feet, 215 drop.
Okay, as Nitro.
Yeah, as Nitro.
Well, I guess it was either that one or Nitro, so I throw that one in there
Okay.
because I like this setting. When you come back in, there's a water splash down at
I see that.
And
Yeah,
the
I'm looking at a
helix.
picture of it
Yeah,
now.
so-
I really, that is one thing.
just a prettier than Nitro, I guess.
One
I
thing
picked
that
it.
I am a sucker for is water elements. I will say.
Okay.
I really like I really like log rides. And,
Yes.
And like just boat rides.
Some enthusiasts may count a log ride on their list.
I did not count
Okay.
traditional log rides, but my
I
favorite
know.
ride of all time is sadly no longer in operation. Is Splash Mountain at Disney World.
Oh yeah.
They have-
I've heard about the revamp.
Essentially, I haven't done I'm sure it's awesome. Like it's the same ride basically. It's
But you
just
can't see those scenes again.
That's true.
Well, on YouTube, I'm sure it
you
exists.
definitely can look at it on YouTube. What I did really like the music in it though. I don't know if they were all from whatever that movie was that was canceled.
Yeah, I've heard again,
Song of the South, I think it's called.
Canopy Coasters review. I like that YouTuber for all my
Okay.
reviews of things.
All right. But that I really loved the theming of it. I really loved the music in it. And so I was sad and it did have one little thing that was it did have a little slightly roller coaster-esque moment where there is one of the drops.
That still exists.
It still has yeah. It still has like 4 or 5 drops. It's so awesome. But it has a drop where it actually you go on a track and you go up a little during the drop. Like
Yeah.
you drop and you go up
like under the little
go up a little
tunnel.
hill. Yeah. And it's very fun. It's maybe the best drop. Anyway,
Best drop
on that ride.
of a log flume?
Of that ride.
Or of anything?
Of that ride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Probably of a log flume, you might could say. I'm sure. I can't think of another one that would.
Yeah. Well, the final one was also very good.
Like
It was a lot like it was tall. It was really tall drop. But anyway, I'm a sucker for those kinds of rides, and that might come back on this list.
Okay.
But my number 10 does not have any water elements. My number 10,
Oh.
however, does have a lot of elements. It probably is the highest theming and just
Okay.
surely the most expensive roller coaster on this list.
Okay.
My number 10 is Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure.
Yes.
Universal.
Did you have to look that up? The title, the
Yeah.
full title.
Yeah, it's of course. Listen to it. It's 6 words, 5 words.
Well, I'm glad you said the full title.
Okay, so I did this for the first time on my honeymoon. We did
Awesome.
it. Well, it's really hard to like really long line,
I'm
obviously.
sure. I'm sure.
And
I've heard awesome things about it.
yeah, it's not the most thrilling ride, but they do a lot of really cool stuff that I didn't expect. So I expected there to be, visual elements, obviously, and there are. And it does the launching stuff, it does rollbacks and stuff that's very cool. But what I didn't expect, the thing that shocked me the most, is it has like a drop, like a Tower of Terror drop in it, and I still don't really know how they did that.
That element is becoming more common.
That is the only ride that I have done that did that.
Lots of these highly themed rides like this include some kind of drop track, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Okay. And so it's pretty long. The seating is very cool. Now, you're either in the motorcycle or you're in the sidecar. The sidecar is a lot worse.
Really? Why?
We did it. It's just, on the motorcycle, you're up higher, and
Yes.
it really actually feels unique.
Faster, maybe.
Yeah,
easier.
it feels like a unique experience. Whereas, like when you're in the sidecar, it just kind of feels like you're on a roller
I
coaster.
feel like the sidecar you might feel more like a bobsled.
Yeah, because there is like some banking.
Is it off? Is it like on a wing? Or are they kind of similarly
No,
split
it
on
is.
the
It is.
track?
It is a little bit. Oh, you're a little bit further away from the
I
track.
haven't experienced it, but
And we did it both ways because we only got to do it twice. We waited in the full line the first time. The second time, because it was our honeymoon,
Yeah.
somebody let us on, let us skip the line. So
oh, that was nice.
that was very nice. Yeah. So I have a lot of obviously fondness for it because I did it on my honeymoon, and Reagan is a huge Harry Potter fan. And so she was really excited for it, and she had never done it either, even though she had worked at Universal. She was there when they were building it, when she was working the parade. And so it was a lot of fun for that reason. I fed off of her enthusiasm, I think.
I've heard lots of great things about the Hogwarts area. Like that would be a reason for me. I want to go visit that park.
Yeah, and it is cool because, I don't know. I think there's a Hogwarts area even in the new, or like a.
There's a
Magic,
few. I'm not as familiar with
the
Universal parks. Really, any of them I've never been to.
Well, I mean, because we were Universal Orlando just opened a third park.
Yes,
and it also has some sort of Harry Potter
I
theme.
think there is, but it's also I think there's a different twist on it.
I think so.
Or it's different.
It's not at. It's not. I think it's the Ministry of Magic, which is not Hogwarts.
Right, or not 100% Hogwarts, but they included it in that area. I don't know. It's a pretty cool take. I've heard.
Yeah, I would love to see it, but with growing up, Reagan's favorite IP. Is
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So she really so obviously she had been to Harry Potter Land before, but she had not been able to do Hagrid's. Right, and that is the best. It is the best one of the three
at Islands of Adventure.
Well,
or where is that one at?
Both parks. Yeah, this one is at Islands of Adventure, but the main Universal Studios also has a Harry Potter. So Universal Studios actually is where the castle is, and then Islands of Adventure is at Hogsmeade. I don't know how well you know the Harry Potter, but
I've
IP.
seen all the movies.
Okay, well, it's like where they go, like the little village they go to, and I don't know.
They go into town.
They don't go very often, but in the movies anyway.
I can picture it.
Yeah. And it is cool. It is well themed. Like it is cool how you take the train, but you can actually you have to have a park hopper ticket, but you can take a train between the two, and it's the
platform 9 3/4.
Right. Yeah. You go through the little wall and stuff. So she's a really big Harry Potter fan. There's a funny story about that. While we were there, there's you can do the thing like in the first movie where he gets his wand.
Yes, I've heard about buying the wands.
Yeah.
And you
right.
can trigger different
things. But one person gets picked out of the crowd to be the person, and Reagan was picked. But when we went, which was so funny because she's been picked before, and she said, "Look, all you have to do is look enthusiastic and make eye contact with the person that is running the thing, and you have a much higher chance of being picked." And she was.
That is awesome.
There were
eye contact.
There were children in the. You would think one of them would be picked, but I think I even heard a dad that was kind of annoyed by it.
Pick a kid.
Yeah, but anyway, but being picked means nothing. Like you still have to buy the wand. Like you don't really get any perks for it except for you trigger the little
one at things.
Yeah,
throughout the park.
You trigger
the really fun.
That is true.
It's a cool thing.
Yeah. Anyway, that is my number 10, Hagrid's, and it's going to be very interesting when I tell you my number 9.
Okay, I don't think I've done really any maybe more than 2 launch coasters. So I know Hagrid, there's 7 launches. Really? Or something crazy.
Oh yeah, they're not very fast, but
yes. No, I know. You had mentioned it wasn't thrilling. It's more like
It's
turn,
fun.
turn.
It is. It's definitely more thrilling when you're on the bike for sure, because you're like higher up, and it, I don't know. It feels more. It's a more thrilling element.
I prefer one big launch, I
I like.
guess.
Yeah, I hear you. I do like when rides experiment with the seating, and you feel like you're doing something a little bit
Something
new.
new. Yeah.
I didn't put it on my list, but when we were on that trip at Disney World, they have this Tron coaster
Yes.
where it's very odd. Like I guess it's supposed to be like you're on one of those
Yes,
bikes. I haven't
absolutely.
seen Tron, but one of those bikes that are in the movie or whatever. And you kind of like lean forward, and it's almost like a half like flying
It
coaster,
increases your sense of
but
speed.
you are sitting also.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very unique.
Speaking of unique seating,
Okay.
my number, we're on nine,
Yeah.
right? Okay. My number nine is Gatekeeper at Cedar
The
Point.
gatekeeper. I love the
I did
gatekeeper.
pick Gatekeeper.
That's
I know
fun.
many enthusiasts
Is
I
it not
know.
Lowe's?
Huh?
How
It's a wing coaster.
a
The
wing?
seats don't flip, they don't rotate on
Right.
axis, but you're seated off of the middle
Mhm.
axis of the
I
track
do
of
remember
the
that being
rolling
very
part.
cool. Lots of
I
inversions.
picked that one. I think that's my only experience of a what do they call that first element? The wing over drop. So
That is
that's
cool.
kind of why it made my list. I know other enthusiasts prefer, there's some other preferred wing coasters
Okay.
out there in other countries, or maybe even some people might prefer the ones in the United States. Like I've heard Thunderbird at Holiday World is
Okay.
some people's favorite. I have not experienced that one.
Yeah.
But for me, the Gatekeeper, I think that was the first one that, like I just said, the wing over drop is what stands out to me. People complain about the little hill that went like in between the front gate and the main drop. They say it's boring,
Oh,
but I find all the elements very fun. Even the helix at the end, they say it's slow and forceless, but I thought it's a well-rounded coaster with lots
hey,
of inversions.
I agree. It stuck out to me as well whenever I went to Cedar Point. It was the newest ride there at the time, so it opened in May 2013. I was there in, I believe, June maybe 2014. So
2015,
about a
yeah.
year after that. It actually might have been 2015 when I went as well, but somewhere around there. I really thought that it was. I thought that the whole gatekeeper thing, like the fact that it went around the gate, I thought was
Yeah,
clever.
I thought that was kind of unique.
Hmm.
I mean,
It's like the first thing you see. I mean, unless I guess when you're on approach, you probably see Top Thrill first.
well,
But
and now there's like several coasters that
oh,
are
like
like
in that
that.
area.
Parks are doing that more. I think even this new thing we're getting at Over Texas is gonna.
Oh,
They've hinted at including like drop the gate, hashtag drop the gate, and like
well, you
uh,
would do walk right past obviously where Lava Bora was. I
right,
mean,
yeah.
you can't miss it.
So
So
um, that's a popular trend. But yeah, that's something about that too. I love the flips through the archway. Or
yeah,
the.
that really stuck out to me too.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I like that ride a lot too. That's cool. That's
common
something.
things on wing
It,
coasters, not
oh, that's not.
necessarily anything that is super unique to that one. But I
Mhm.
just again I think I like the location, seeing the beach and the
The location
water.
is great.
That helps its case to me, I think.
I
And
really love that it's on the beach. And
so
to me, it's so interesting too, just because, I don't know. I just think the Great Lakes are interesting because it's like it seems like the ocean, but it's just a really big lake.
top nine. This is going to be my last one at Cedar Point.
Okay, I strongly considered Gatekeeper for my list. I did not include it, but
Hmm
it
hmm
was certainly a top contender. No, you ready for my number nine?
Yes, go ahead. Go
My
ahead.
number nine is very interesting because it is what was our Hagrid's motorbike.
Oh, I never got to
It's
experience
what it
that, but
replayed.
you're lucky.
So originally it was not called for me it was called
Yeah,
Dragon Challenge, but originally it was called something else.
Dueling Dragons.
Dueling Dragons.
But I think isn't that
But
like a game, or it's like a
Dragon Challenge they tried to theme it after Harry Potter because it's after the Harry Potter
the
theming.
dragon scene?
Yeah, but they didn't. It
I don't know what
really
you're talking about.
well because like originally it was dragon themed,
Yes.
and like you picked your dragon during the like when you were going through
Q.
the queue. At a certain point you would pick between the two. And once I was faster, once I was taller. I do remember that, but
Hmm.
not by much. Like very very similar. But and eventually when it became the Dragon Challenge, at some point they dropped the dueling element. But when I did it, they did duel.
Yeah, what was it? I think they did have to start operating them, like
I think someone got
alternating them.
injured or
I do
something.
too. Yeah, there was a reason behind it.
Yeah, so they operated from okay, so it was Dueling Dragons from 1999. So gosh, imagine in 1999, it must have been awesome
Yeah.
at that time. And then it went from 20 to 2010. It was called Dueling Dragons. I visited. Oh gosh, I actually don't know what year. It was like right whenever it was probably 2010 or 2011, because it was right when the Harry Potter world opened. I don't think they even had the one in Islands of Adventure yet. I think they only had the one in Universal Studios. And so they had just kind of just because it was there, they just kind of hastily rethemed it as.
Yeah, right.
But it was.
Did you do both
the same.
sides?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I don't really remember one being better than the other. Honestly, my inclination is to say I like the blue one slightly more, but realistically,
I hear
think they were-
from other enthusiasts this is one that people wish was still around.
was still around. Yeah,
Actually, I've also heard them say that Hagrid's was a worthy replacement because it is so
yeah.
long and so invested in the theme and the
Yes.
experience.
It was really interesting. It's very unique to have the same plot of land, the site of two rides on my list.
That's true.
Weird,
yes.
right? And so like whenever I definitely have nostalgia for the Dragon Challenge.
It's
like,
that spot. Of
yeah,
life.
and like I did think about that. Like when I was doing Hagrid, I was like, oh man, it used to be those inverted coasters. And I had never I guess I've done some dueling stuff. Didn't Cedar Point have like a dueling
Gemini.
Yeah.
And there's some woodies that raise.
Right. But I had never done like an inverted one like that. And like they do like really there's a lot of really cool interacting elements. Like they had the flip that where you would kind of go feet to the opposite.
Yes, this is kind of becoming a popular trend now too. There's
Oh
one.
really?
The Stardust Racers at the new Epic Universe is like a
Okay.
more thrilling dueling, like with the aversions.
Okay. And then there was another one where like one is like would like bunny hop over the other one, and the other one would do like a corkscrew under it.
That would be cool.
It was really awesome. Like there was like 4 or 5 times I feel like during the ride where you really like interacted with the other, and you specifically went at the same time. You know, like
Even when you were-
when I did it.
Even
yes.
you got to do it.
I got
Dragon Challenge
yes, but it was
after
still
the theme.
it's
But
still
they were still operating both.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wonder when they
interesting.
stopped doing the duel. Okay, so there were multiple incidents in 2011 involving injuries to riders who were hit with loose objects.
So you barely got it
I
in.
must have just barely. I must have been like the last year before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it wouldn't have been. I don't think it would have made my list if it didn't have the dueling element to it.
Mhm.
That really added a lot. So, and I thought it was really cool because of that.
While we're on inverted coasters,
Okay.
I'm going to throw in an honorable mention.
Hit it.
I didn't pick any on my top 15
Okay.
list, but I liked Banshee when I rode it at Kings Island. It's like the newest of those B&M coasters.
Okay, it's a clone.
No, it's not a clone.
Oh.
But it's like that. Really, like in the early 2000s, that model there weren't many purchased after like mid 2000s
Oh, really?
until this Banshee one in like 2015 or something like
Okay.
that. And
It's like your favorite of those?
of the inverted coasters, and it was in my early rough draft, maybe top 25.
Is
but
the Cedar Point one a clone? Like,
Raptor, that one also I would include.
is that one unique?
It is. There has been a clone of that one actually
Okay.
in Europe, so very far apart. You're
Mhm.
not likely to experience
No.
both of them. But yeah, Raptor is actually. I'm glad you brought that one up too.
Yeah,
Raptor should get an honorable.
I do remember
mention
that one, yeah.
for style of coaster, but I did not put any in my top 15
I think
that are
this is
that inverted.
This is my
type.
top of this type of the inverted type.
Okay.
And sadly, no longer. So I had, let's see, I had Bizarro, which that was a floralist, so a little bit different. But Deja Vu was
Inverted,
inverted,
yes.
and Dragon Challenge were inverted. Neither of them in operation today. Well, technically, you can do Deja Vu, but not Imagine Mountain.
Yes, you
So,
can ride the Deja.
I'm glad that it's still being operated somewhere.
This brings us to
Number
8. Okay, 8 for me is a hypercoaster, Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England.
Okay, so I
Um,
was confused about this because there's the one at Six Flags New England, and is there another one that's kind of similar,
It's the same style, but it's not the same
but no
layout.
one died on the other one?
I don't remember.
I
I don't remember the morbid detail.
I that's the stuff that sticks out to me. Like, but when you said New Texas Giant, I was thinking, oh yeah, that.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't bring that up.
Well, just pretend I didn't then. But no, I don't think anyone's died on this one, so congratulations.
But no,
But when I did it, was Bizarro.
I've also done it as Bizarro. I think I have to check my
I'm gonna get
record
something.
if I've been.
Tell people about it. I'm gonna show you something that you'll get a kick out of.
Okay.
That is related.
The Superman the Ride in Six Flags New England is highly regarded by many enthusiasts. It has because the first half. No, it really is.
No, I know it is.
And the first half has, your airtime hills. You love the airtime. And I just love the ending kind of. I picked this one because it's got the twistery kind of fast, low turns.
Yes, and it has like a water element, right? Where like water. When I did it.
Maybe as Bizarro, it had something. I'm not sure.
Well, there's a part where it skims
this-
the water, doesn't it?
No, I don't think so. There's like a mist tunnel, I remember.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of this tunnel.
Or like you go underground in these tunnels under the path. That's another reason it's so cool.
Okay, what is it called again?
It interacts with the path. Superman the Ride.
Oh, and see, Superman Ride of Steel is different.
Right. Well, or I guess if it says Six Flags New England, that's the one.
Oh, okay, so it's just.
I guess it used to be that name.
Okay, yeah. So
Maybe we should check the database. What's its current name?
Yeah, it's hard to keep track. Ride of Steel. So there's Superman the Ride and Superman Ride of Steel. Let's look at Ride of Steel. This is the one that's in Six Flags New England. No, for the roller coaster at Six Flags New England. See Superman the Ride. So that was different. Okay, Superman the Ride is what it's called now.
Yeah, okay. That's what my list reflects. Superman the Ride.
Okay. I do remember it, certainly. I remember not being super impressed with that Six Flags park, but they did at least have this.
Yeah, New England doesn't really stand out to me in many
I think it did have a decent
other
rapid
ways.
ride.
I liked the rapids.
It was like
there
really misty,
too.
but I did.
And there's maybe one or two other unique things there, but I wasn't super thrilled at New England. But I've been there more than once, actually. I've been there twice, I think. So I might have done it as Superman the Ride and Bizarro. I experienced
I definitely did it as
it that way as
No,
well.
that
I know I hear some people complain about the restraints. They're not very
Does it
comfortable.
is it over the shoulder?
No, it's a T-bar,
Okay.
but to people's legs, it's real tight on. I think
I
is
could
the
see that.
main
Because people want to have a little bit
concern.
of gaps or for some airtime, of course.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what I have gotten for you here. This is a book that we bought at the book fair. And Leonard.
I'm sure I had bought the same
The
one.
top 10 roller coasters in America. Let's see when this is dated. I think it's actually, so I lost my original copy and I found this on like eBay or something. And I bought it recently.
You had to buy it again.
Yeah. It says it's from the Library of Star Carver or wherever that is. But I think this is 2007 is when this was dated. And it shows rides like the Corkscrew. Here's the Iron Dragon, the Raptor, as we discussed. So these are not like that are actually on the list though. And I just remember El
talked
Toro.
about them.
I love El Toro. But yeah. So it's basically just like talking about.
But it mentions this Superman the Ride.
Twister.
Wicked Twister
Well,
should
Superman the
get
Ride is on this list.
the list. And
So-
Wicked Twister should get a shout out too.
I loved Wicked Twister.
Rest in
It's
peace.
not there anymore, right?
Right.
That's very sad, but it was cool. So the top 10 from this book in 2007. Number 10 is the Cyclone at Coney Island.
It's on my bucket list. I'm actually planning a trip to New York.
Is that right?
I think I was going to prioritize American Dream Mall, Nickelodeon Universe over the Cyclone,
The
Luna Park.
Coney
But
Island.
maybe I can talk Isaac into doing both.
You know,
I think
I have done somewhere I went had a
Texas
clone of
Cyclone
this.
at Astroworld. There used to be the Texas
Okay,
Cyclone.
but I have never been to Astroworld.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere I went, they had a Cyclone. I don't remember where it was.
Magic Mountain a long time ago had a wooden roller coaster called that.
Okay.
It was painted brown. It wasn't white.
Okay, maybe that's what I did. It must be. That must be it.
I don't know if it was exactly like it or.
Number 9 is the
Similar.
Beast,
I've done that.
but not on your list.
No,
But you liked it?
Not on my list.
Is
I
it really 5 minutes long?
I'm
That's
sure. I picked the Voyage instead.
I think the Beast looks really cool, but I have not ridden it. I love that it's really in the woods.
There's
Number 8,
yours.
Dueling Dragons. So this was when we had this as a kid. This book, we really we wanted to ride all of these.
Yeah.
I didn't. I have not done the Beast. Or the original Cyclone, but I did do Dueling Dragons before it went away. Number 7 is Son of Beast. That didn't age very well.
No.
No. But I think it was kind of new at this time. So that was it was the world's tallest wooden roller coaster at the time. It's 218 feet.
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
And
it
it had
was
an
the
inverted loop as well, which
I
was
knew about the inversion. Yeah.
6 is Millennium Force, Cedar Point.
I don't think I included that on my list.
I
but
didn't either, but
honorable mention.
I thought I
yeah, it was.
it's obviously awesome.
It's probably in my top 25, or probably coming up
5 is Superman Ride of Steel.
for this. Okay, that's what we were just talking about. Got us
Boulder
started on this.
Dash. Have you done
On
Boulder
my bucket
Dash?
list notes at Lake Compounds.
Lake Compounds, yeah, right. As it says right here, very
Mhm.
impressive knowledge that you have.
I know where things are. I just
So, look at
don't know
this.
them all.
15 is X, but not X2.
Right.
Pink X.
What number
Look at
is
how
theirs?
awful that
3.
looked. Yeah. Number 2, Top Thrill Dragster.
Okay, good. Good for the book.
But unfortunately,
Number
it's
one.
King Kong. So it's really like a top 9.
And there's definitely several that are similar.
Oh yeah.
Top 3 all King Ka. What was that other one back to back that was like the same? But
Well, they had the Beast. And
so yeah, Beast and
but,
Son of Beast.
those were different runs.
They're Woodies.
Yeah. Anyway, it's not a very good list, but this was I
Tell
really
us.
enjoy Thrill Rides.
Top 10 roller coasters in America
Yeah.
by
Published in 2007. By
Meredith Books.
Meredith Books. It was
Meredith
$6
Books is the publishing
originally.
company.
I don't know what I bought it for, but probably not
It's
much.
a very colorful book. If you own it, you might have one.
That's right. And if you went
The book fair.
if you had a book fair in 2007, you might have seen it. Anyway, it was a memorable book in my childhood. Okay, my number 8. You're gonna get a kick out of this. This is a ride that operates at our very own Six Flags Over Texas.
Okay, I'm glad you included one from there.
It is not the New Texas Giant. It is
Okay.
not the Titan.
That's fine.
It is Mr. Freeze at Six Flags Over Texas. There is one other Mr. Freeze, right? In St.
Yes.
Louis.
Mhm.
I have not had the pleasure, but I did too. I have done Mr. Freeze many times. I remember doing Mr. Freeze for the first time, and it really stuck out in my mind because this was a bit because I remember obviously going to Mr. Freeze to Six Flags as a child and looking at Mr. Freeze and being like, "There's no way I would ever ride that in a million years." But when I was a cowardly little child, but Bailey Anderson got me to do Mr.
Really?
Freeze.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good.
And I remember
What did she say?
looking down. I don't know. She just liked all the rides and she wanted me to do it with her. I remember looking down the barrel of that tunnel and like the lights light up right before you go, and I was like, man, here we go. I'm ready because I did the Titan first, so I felt like I was ready for it. My Titan was taller, but Mr. Freeze short ride. It's a launch coaster. It has what 3? Well, if you count the launch, 4 major elements. It has the launch.
Yeah.
It has the top hat. It has the overbank turn.
Yes.
And then it has the spike.
Vertical spike.
And then you just go back and do it all in reverse.
You could also ride Mr. Freeze in reverse.
Now
It's
you can do
blast.
either, is what I'm told.
That is the way I understand it as well. I think this doesn't happen in St. Louis, so I think that's what I hear people saying.
And
where Texas might have the better offering here
sure. And so
because you can pick your experience.
and so I remember obviously when I did it first, it was forward. And then for a long time it was backwards. And like that was the only option.
Probably
and
at least 10 years.
Yeah, and I think I could get the date on that. And I think a lot of people really liked that. It was a unique feeling to launch up backwards, but I really missed doing it forward. And so the last time that I went to Six Flags, I went with Reagan, but we didn't do the Mr. Freeze because she was sick. But I actually went on a date with somebody before I met Reagan, like shortly before I met Reagan, and we did the Mr. Freeze. And that was it was the first time I got
Back to going forward.
This is the first time I got to do it in so many years going forward. I was like, ah, man, I really miss this. I really like looking down the tunnel for the launch, and I really like looking at the sky for the spike instead of like looking at the ground.
I think I'm mixed. I think I prefer.
The backwards launch?
I don't know now.
Yeah. Well, that's part of what's great about what the current setup is if you can choose.
Yes.
Then you can, that's fun. Like it adds more in video game terms we would call that replayability, rewritability.
I think I like
replay value.
I think I like the launch going forwards. Like, I don't know.
Like with the wind in your face.
I prefer that feeling to being pulled over the lap.
Yeah. Agreed.
But then I think I do like the backwards, the vertical spike at the turnaround.
You like looking down?
I prefer looking down.
I really like. Well, either way, I really like looking down when you're doing.
It's just scary because you're looking down so long, and because it does give you a little bit of a boost too. So
yeah,
you go a little bit further. And you're like, oh my god.
There's a really great video I watched about that, and I think he's in a more in-depth one now. His name is El Toro Ryan. Are you familiar with him?
I have followed that channel and
on YouTube.
Know some of his content.
Yeah,
yes.
I think he used to work at Great Adventure, but he talked about how if Mr. Freeze was designed today, they would probably not do it that way with the boost like on the spike, like because it can, if something goes wrong, it can valley, and like because there's no boost at the bottom, and so it's like you have to like crank it all the way up to get it out of there
or take it apart.
But he says like now typically when you do boost, like it's in the lower part of the element, and so you can boost it out of there. Like,
but I think
Uphill Dragster, for instance.
I think that's. But without that, I don't think you'd put Mr. Freeze ranked this high.
Because
that's part of that. Yeah, you get that extra time to feel that weightlessness.
That is true.
To feel the
And I definitely have obviously a lot of nostalgia for it because it is at our home park, and it has ever since I've done it, it has been my favorite at Six Flags Over Texas. I really enjoy launch coasters. I really like it's it doesn't have a ton of theming, but I do think it's very atmospheric.
I like going in the queue. You go
Yeah,
in the guy's mouth.
yeah, and like there's like all the stuff, all the ice cream
Toxic
residue
ice cream.
over the walls or whatever. Hopefully, when you have to, you can kind of tell when you go in that building how quickly you find people, and it's like, oh, we're gonna be here a while.
Yeah, if it's time to turn around or pick it out.
Yeah, but I really like the room that it's actually in.
That is
like
a cool
with the blue
room.
lights.
Mr. Freeze animatronic.
Mhm.
I think I remember weirdly it was like
I think they.
not a character. It was just some animatronic man.
Oh, I thought
I
it was
think they
Mr. Freeze.
I think they finally like this is early when it was first built. It was just like some
Okay.
man up there.
Okay, that's funny.
Or I don't know, maybe I'm remembering the other way around. Mr. Freeze.
It's definitely
but
supposed to be Mr. Freeze. At least but there were years where it kind of got into disrepair and he was not animated anymore. But when I went in 2000, I think it was 2021, he was moving.
yeah.
That's cool.
And it's cool just seeing the transfer tracks move over from
Yeah,
the other
but
side.
I feel like that's part of the problem of why it has so many technical issues and has to shut down a lot.
I think Mr. Freeze is my second favorite at Over Texas.
Yeah, I mean,
I like
know
the launch coaster.
I know that there is another one, but to me, because I've not done the St. Louis one, it feels like a very unique ride that we have. Whereas I have done another Titan, even though I do like ours better than Goliath and Magic Mountain or whatever.
Yeah,
and
I do too.
Texas Giant is literally unique, but there are others that everybody says are better than that one. And and Shockwave is unique, and I love the Shockwave.
Shockwave's my third favorite at Over Texas.
I didn't pick it for the list, but I love Shockwave.
Yeah.
But Mr. Freeze, I don't know. It's always really done it for me. So
It's a good one. It's a good one.
yeah, very intense ride.
Yeah, if you love launch coasters, so definitely.
It might be my favorite launch coaster. Well, on this list, oh no, there is one. There is a new arrival that is I like better, but really great launch.
Well, let's keep working.
Okay, number
towards
7
it.
for you.
Number 7.
Top half. Well, top half of the list.
Oh yes, this is top half.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7. I chose Twisted Colossus at Magic Mountain. So
Oh,
that's an RMC
I
redo.
think when I did it, it was still Colossus.
I have the credit also from the original wooden Colossus.
But I have definitely not done the
You haven't been there since
Right.
the revamp. It is awesome. That is.
Is that your favorite of the RMC?
Let me double check.
Is it dual? That's awesome.
It duels so it's one circuit. You get to do both lift hills every time. So that's another
So it's
reason
like you
I
get
wanted
two
to
rides.
include it. Yeah, it's such a long ride. You get to go around both times. You don't always duel. It depends on if the operators send it out
Okay.
to line up.
So not necessarily.
I've heard
gonna
that's
happen.
something they could guarantee. Enthusiasts complain that if they could guarantee
Okay.
a duel every time, they'd rank it higher because there are some interacting elements. There's like wave turns into each other.
Listen to this characterization on Wikipedia. It says so. It originally opened in 1978. For 19 years, it was the park's main attraction until the opening of Superman: The Escape. I didn't know. I'm surprised that was considered the main.
Right before
that
they've
little
added,
spike.
like we can picture so many other rides there now.
Well, I just can't of all the rides to replace
That one's not even that
Super,
tall.
I mean, and it was the tallest roller coaster in the time when they created it, but it's just so. I mean, it's like 10 seconds.
But now it doesn't. I'm saying now, compared to everything else stacked up there, it doesn't even look that tall.
it is. It's a weird little anomaly, honestly. Like it's just like, oh yeah, there's this weird little spike coaster that you ride for 10 seconds, and it's
It's Superman.
yeah.
I think that is actually no longer operating currently.
Oh really?
It might
Well,
be. There's rumors it might be soon to go.
it's probably time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Twisted Colossus
did it duel when it was not
I have experienced it dueling.
on the wooden version?
I mean, it definitely raced. You didn't do it twice.
Right.
I think
I think I do remember.
was designed
I
to
think I
race.
do remember
It just
racing.
probably depends on how operations were.
I think I
the day
did.
you-
I think I did race
Right.
on that, but it was the wooden one.
Yes. Did that one?
I definitely.
Did you think about that one when you were making this
I
list?
didn't,
The
but
original?
only because because I haven't done the update.
No, the original wouldn't get on your list. The
I do remember it though.
Twisted is awesome. It has a pre-lift bunny hump section, and
That's fun.
just that you get two lift hill. You basically get two experiences.
That is really cool. Now that you mentioned it, I think I had heard about that. Oh, unfortunately, a woman died on it in 1978, but don't worry about that. That's the original.
The original, so
Yes.
not the new one. Thank goodness.
Okay, number 7. This is for me, this is we're getting into this really feels like I will say like we're technically in the top half of the list now. To me I feel like there is a jump here for my list. Like if we're doing tiers, like I feel like I would jump up a tier.
I think mine happened at 7. What we just same place.
And this is where most of the rides that remain on my list, there's one that I would say is not super themed, but all of the rest of these rides have extremely high level theming, and I think that that is important for me, not necessarily for like I can enjoy a ride if it's not themed, but I think to be my favorite, to be in like the upper echelon, I feel like it has to do something unique, and theming is one way to do that. Number 7 is a ride at Universal Studios Florida. It is called Revenge of the Mummy, the ride. Have you heard of this?
I have. I believe it's Premier Rides.
Okay, yeah, let me look
And
that up. It is an indoor coaster.
I just know it's indoors. I don't really know much of the experience. I think on RCBD there's like 2 pictures of it, the building.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Because what else can you really do?
Uh,
It has a lot of really cool elements, and they always work because they are critical to they're critical to the experience. So technically, there's one at Hollywood as well, and I did actually do that one first. I went to the Universal Studios in Hollywood before I went to Universal Studios in Florida, but the Florida one is definitely better. They're both great, but the one in Florida is definitely better. From what I remember, and of course I did it just this one much more recently than a lot of the rides because it was on my honeymoon, so December 20, yeah, or even January 2024. I did this, and so you start off and it's like a dark ride at first, except for you're on a train, and like
okay, it is. It's a long train. I haven't even seen pictures.
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
you're on a
vehicle.
train. It's 13,
Okay.
13 trains on the thing.
Cars.
Yeah, 13. Oh,
Or rows.
no. 13 trains.
So they're like
operating.
2-row cars,
Yeah,
right?
two
Okay.
cars. Two cars.
Two
And
rows.
riders are arranged 4 across.
Yeah. Okay.
So kind of a wide. So basically 16 riders per train.
8.
Well, no, because it's
Oh.
you fit 8 in a car.
Okay.
So it's like 4 rows.
Got it.
And so you're going through and it's like, well, there's like a little bit of a story.
Do the seats move? Like, does the car move? Or
No.
do you face forward the
You
whole time?
you face forward the whole time.
Okay.
But you do go reverse at one point. When you run into some trouble in there. There's a story to the
No
ride
spoilers.
technically. Because I've never seen the Mummy. I don't care about that franchise
Me either.
at all. But the story is that they're like filming it
Okay.
and they're in the location and they're not taking it very serious. They're not respecting the
Mummy property, mummy area.
no, like the mummy himself, like in the tomb that they're in.
Oh.
And so the mummy gets revenge on you in the ride, basically. But you're going through, and then like stuff. It's kind of like Indiana Jones style. Like stuff starts going wrong, and you're trapped in there. So you need to like figure out a way out. And so like you pretty early you go to like this dead end, and like a bunch of bugs come out. Like they're like these killer bugs that like you see on the screen, like they kill somebody, and then like you feel them on your legs.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so then, like, you do a reverse, and you're going through it pretty fast.
Now
Like,
that's
it's
4-dimensional.
It's a little
right
bit of
there.
yeah, exactly. I think it is like a very not like a big one, but a pretty weak launch
Backwards.
and then like you kind of go through some, and there's like a lot of stuff. It's dark in there, but there's like a lot of things to like look at, like it's creepy mummy stuff. And then there's like you back up in this room, and like the whole room like erupts in fire. Like there's fire just like
I've never.
surrounding like it's pretty far from you, but it gets it's like really hot in there. And then like you shoot out of there for like another launch, but not
Interesting.
not super
I wonder
fast.
how much of the track is reused or retraveled.
I do, yeah.
Or like, is it
Like it might change, like when you go into the
and send you on similar
you do it.
parts?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, I'll
It's,
add that
it's,
to
it's
my,
in the dark, so it's hard to tell exactly what's going on.
add that to my bucket.
really
list.
well,
Yeah.
really well themed. I remember writing it for the first time and just having no expectations whatsoever, and having no idea what it was going to do, and then
That's always the best.
being
when you
very
go into
impressed.
something,
Yeah.
not knowing anything about it.
exactly. And so for those reasons, I still, even though I know obviously what it does now, every time I do it, I'm like, man, that is really great experience. So number 7 on my
I'll have
list.
to get there. I haven't really experienced many of those themed rides like that at Universal or
Mhm.
Disney.
Well, they're not all created equal. I think Disney typically does them better, but Universals are more thrilling. And
right.
you know,
probably more up my
Mummy
alley.
the Ride is not a super thrilling ride, but I guarantee you would enjoy it.
Well, I think
Think Fire in the Hole, but a little more thrilling.
I think I would prefer prioritizing Universal parks to Disney parks because that's more of what I would look for, the thrills. I want the big attraction.
We might not quite be done with Universal on my list.
Okay.
I look forward to that.
We're on number 6.
Number 6.
I don't know what I was thinking earlier. I misspoke about the wooden coasters.
Oh. Even more wooden.
There's a few more coming up.
Okay, great. I have another.
Also something else I misspoke about earlier too that's coming up.
Okay.
I don't know what I was looking
Well,
at.
just disregard that.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone listening. I wasn't really looking at my list when I spoke earlier. So number 6 is a wooden coaster, but it's a hybrid.
Okay.
It's a ground up hybrid from RMC.
Okay.
Outlaw Run. I picked Outlaw Run.
Where's this?
At Silver Dollar City.
Right.
Not since we've been. It's been added since you've been there.
Okay, so I did not get to do Outlaw Run.
They built it over by that giant swing that you like.
I do like the giant
I love
swing.
the giant swing also. But Outlaw Run is
officially announced in 2012, opened in 2013.
Yes.
On my birthday, March 15th, 2013.
And I rode it in that year that it opened in 2013.
Very cool. Yeah, I see a pretty big bank turn here.
The bank turns, airtime, 2 inversions at the end, just some like barrel roll.
So is it like smooth, like an RMC?
Very smooth. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a metal track. It's a wooden structure,
but not the
with
like,
metal railings.
not like the bright track that you see usually with RMC.
Not the
ours is
iBox on
Yeah.
the iBox track is specifically for, I think, what am I saying?
Remakes.
Yeah, reimaginings
Yes,
of
yeah.
old coasters.
But this one was from the ground up.
ground up, wood structure, metal rails.
Looks awesome.
But it's a different track system slightly. But yeah,
is that a corkscrew there? An
like
inversion?
like 2. It has 2 of those right at the end. I love them because you're like going uphill and you're like slowing down while you're going.
Oh yeah.
Very
When a ride you can
interesting.
do, I have one coming up where they did some elements that are not what you normally would experience. So like on a corkscrew, you're usually going pretty fast, right? So
Yes,
if you're
taking one slower
there's something that I have.
increases the hang time.
Yeah, there's something I have up ahead that does some unique, like makes you feel that something that you don't usually feel on a ride. So look forward to that.
A major one enthusiast like is Lightning Run at Dollywood. It's
Okay.
It's another ground up RMC.
Very
but
cool.
I prefer Outlaw Run. I have experienced that one at Dollywood. I think some people it's even their number 1 coaster.
It's RMC might. It seems like they're kind of considered the best.
They're lots of people's number 1.
Mhm.
Steel Vengeance,
Right.
which we haven't experienced, but
No.
that's a lot of enthusiasts number 1
Mhm.
regularly.
Rocky Mountain Construction's a good name.
Yes, but I like Outlaw Run better than Lightning Run. I like the location better. I like the drops better.
I really like the way the kind of the atmosphere of Silver Dollar City, like you said earlier.
Yeah, and I don't think Lightning Run has inversions,
Mm.
and I kind of like those inversions.
Yeah, I
at
love
the
the
end
inversion,
of
especially on a kind of a wooden roller coaster.
Outlaw Run. Yeah,
Very unique.
yeah. So there's my Silver
Skip
Dollar
it.
City. That's the only one from there I had to put one of those on
Mhm.
this list because I do love that park, as we discussed.
I remember.
earlier.
I just remember the time. A good example of a recurring theme on my list is a ride that we didn't know much about going in and it exceeded our expectations. I definitely remember feeling that with the Fire in the Hole, and I strongly considered Fire in the Hole for my list for that
The
reason.
remake of it is a similar storyline, so it still exists.
That's good.
but just in a new.
I don't really remember the story of it or anything. I just remember there being a bunch of fire.
And the newer one built by RMC.
RMC, really.
Mhm.
But so I mentioned that I had like basically 28 that I was narrowing it down from, and Fire in the Hole was my number 3 that didn't quite make it on the list.
Nice,
Number 3.
interesting. That's high.
In case you're curious, number 2 was the Rattler, the original. Because I never got to do the RMC version.
Yes, I shout out to original wood coasters.
It was awesome, and I did it at night.
They don't make them like that anymore to bang you around like that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that was your number 6. My number 6 is another ride that the ride still exists. The theming is being changed, and I think it sounds worse to me. I'm disappointed by the change that is about to occur. But I at least got to do it many times in its original form. It is at Disney's Hollywood Studios, Rock and Roller Coaster featuring Aerosmith.
Yes, nice. I think that's a good one. It's long. People will say
Well, it's
lasts a while.
It's really not that long, but I mean, I guess.
Oh wait, Rock and Roller Coaster. My bad. I'm thinking of what is now the Incredicoaster, but wrong thing.
What is the Incredicoaster? Oh,
It used to
Space
be
Mountain?
No,
You might be thinking of
I'm thinking
or
of California.
Disneyland.
I am.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
of Disneyland.
Okay. But Rock and Roller Coaster,
Oh my God.
it is not a It's just a traditional
Launch.
launch. Well, yeah, it does have a launch. So this was, believe this was my first launch coaster that I ever did.
Okay.
And it's a launch in the dark. You can't see really what you're doing during the launch, and it immediately like goes up and does like a kind of like a tongue. What do you call
It's
it?
just a Cobra roll.
Yeah, cobra roll.
Similar layout to Poltergeist.
Is that right?
Well, it's a different manufacturer, but there
Wouldn't know
I
it.
think there's like the same number of inversions or
You-
something very.
okay.
It's a similar kind of shape.
You wouldn't know it
To
but that makes sense because
structure.
Poltergeist is very packed in.
Yes.
And this is obviously an indoor coaster, so it
Yeah.
makes sense that it would be packed in like that. I growing up, Aerosmith was my favorite band, so
Yeah, I knew that's why you picked this
that
one.
that is part of the reason I really loved the theming of it. It's being rethemed to the Muppets. So
I have heard about this.
yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed by that change, but I do recognize that for children that's probably more exciting than an over the hill
Well, children
rock
aren't
band
gonna
from the
be
70s. But
riding a big launch coaster
Well,
either,
it's-
I think. But
yeah, you would. That's true.
they just needed a refresh
See,
on
what's
it,
the-
I think.
48 inches height restriction. So what is that? 4 feet.
Hmm.
So you're right. It's not really for young children. It was at the time. It was kind of viewed as like the most extreme ride.
I've seen pictures
This
of
model.
the train. It looks like a car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool because like there's a story, and they actually used the band members to do the story like in the
Interesting.
in the line. Which last time I did it, they didn't even. You just walked right through the room and you didn't get to see the movie, which I thought was
Aw.
disappointing. But the story is that you're going to see Aerosmith, and then like you meet them like you're not at the venue yet, and you see them, and they're like, oh well, all these people are here to see us, let's get them a ride, and so they get you a super stretch limousine,
Nice, yeah.
which is the train.
Yeah, that was why it was a car.
Yeah, and so the idea is that it's like really there's a lot of traffic, and so
You zoom through, you
just-
race past
yeah,
them
yeah, and
while Aerosmith's playing on the radio.
yeah, and it plays Aerosmith songs, and there are different tracks, so like there's
Oh.
variety to what song plays.
Do the people vote? Is it one of
No, it's just I guess it's random.
I know that experience
I don't
happens
know.
at
Yeah, that's
is it Hollywood Rip Ride and Rock
Yeah,
Fair,
you get to
which
pick.
is closing this year.
it's probably time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have some fondness for the Rip Ride Rocket, but
I have not experienced it. Oh, you have.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's in Orlando?
Yeah, it is. It's at Universal Studios, not the California Adventure.
Okay.
California
Like I
Adventure,
said, I get the Universal
California
mixed up.
Adventure
I
is
don't-
generally considered better, I think, between the two parks than the original Universal Studios. But the original Universal Studios has the Mummy, so I don't know. I might like it better, but it does not have the Haggard ride. But yeah, Rip Rocket, it was fine. You got to pick your song.
pick music.
But Aerosmith, like as an Aerosmith fan, I was impressed. They picked like some deeper cuts.
None of the oh really?
Yeah.
Things people wouldn't maybe
Yeah,
know.
so I thought that was really cool.
That would be interesting.
And then at the end, it's it unloads you in a gift shop like many
Yes.
Disney World rides do. But the idea is that you're backstage at the show.
Oh,
And
cool.
so,
You just got there.
Yeah. And I don't.
So then the next ride should start.
Yeah, exactly. I think I have my jacket rack over there. I don't know if it's on there. You can actually see that scarf right there is from Harry Potter World.
Yeah.
But I did buy a hoodie with the Rock and Roller Coaster thing, and now I think that's kind of cool because this
It'll be
isn't
nostalgic.
even the last time I went. This was like from when I was a kid. I bought it.
Yeah.
I can still wear it.
Oh well.
And
It still fits you.
well, yeah, because I mean I was probably like in high school when I got it,
Yeah.
and now I think that's actually kind of cool that because it's not going to exist anymore. So
That is cool. I don't have any experiences where like audio or music stands out to me in my ride experiences.
yeah,
Even all those bizarro things I did, I don't know.
well,
Two I did with the soundtrack.
yeah. Once the ride is going for X2, I don't really remember the music. I don't really remember it that much for Bizarro either. It's more like there in the beginning and then like at the end. I remember them chanting Bizarro over and over again, which I thought was kind of cool.
I want to give an honorable mention real quick for audio. Okay, it's not a song, but I
Okay.
actually love the Dr. Diabolical's cliffhanger at Fiesta, Texas, their dive coaster.
Have I not done that? I haven't done this dive
No,
coaster.
it's from 2022.
Okay.
It's new. You
I've
need
never
to go
done it.
back.
I've never done a dive coaster.
You need to get back to Fiesta, Texas.
I do need to go. Yeah.
That's my only dive coaster, so I need to get several more.
Do you like them?
I love the experience, but I love her audio. There's the character Dr. Diabolical
Mhm.
on a spiel. She's speaking at the top of the drop, and I don't know. I'm addicted to her little.
Really?
speak.
Is that just an original character? or-
Yes,
Okay.
they just created.
That's funny.
Some people, some enthusiasts don't like the speaking because it gives away when you're gonna drop.
Oh, sure.
But-
Well, Aerosmith does that too. Like Steven Tyler is the frontman from Aerosmith. Like counts it down.
And-
You go at one though.
And I love the there's a second drop that happens midway through, and her voice comes back on, and she says, "Scream louder!" And I love it.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, see,
sillily addicted to that little.
there is something to be said for those elements. You enjoyed the wacky elements of the Justice League at over Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
The-
it.
What wacky part?
I don't know. I
The
just
whole
remember.
thing.
Yeah.
The part I like the old school stuff, like when the barrels fall over, or like the truck is.
Oh, like practical effects.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
which is kind of like Dr. Diabolical speaking to you.
okay.
Because you actually do see more of her in the queue line, so it is a real person. They really fleshed out this character,
Right.
and this experience. You're going on this machine,
That does sound good. That's very Disney Universal
but
style.
Diabolical doesn't make the list. It's
Okay.
not that thrilling, but it's very. You need to try Dive Coaster. I'm excited. That's what we're getting here.
Me too.
So-
Yeah, I'm definitely curious about what that's going to be like. And ours is going to be the new tallest roller coaster in Texas. Yes.
Yes,
Wow,
and the
so it's
tallest
gonna be-
drop
it's
coaster,
gonna be
the
really
tallest
big.
dive coaster.
Well, it's about time that Six Flags Over Texas.
Over Texas. Yeah, I should have mentioned this when we were talking about the parks.
Yeah.
It really has missed out on any kind of major
Well,
updates. I
The
feel like
last one that we got was
Titan.
well. I was
is
going
what
to
I
say.
say.
I was going to say the new Texas Giant when it was the first
Oh, that's
RMC.
true.
That was the beginning of a big like for 1 or 2 years. It was the only one. So that was
The new
cool.
Texas Giant. Yeah, I'm not interested in this Joker thing they put in.
Yeah.
I actually,
I have done that.
Aquaman. I will give an honorable mention to Aquaman.
I think that looks cool.
Is my top 4 at the park actually.
Okay. Wow. You have them all ranked at
Over Texas.
I probably do too, but I'd have to think about it.
But anyway, that's
That's
several
exciting.
honorable mentions we had here at 6, right? We just did 6.
Yeah, so top 5 now.
Okay. I don't know how I missed this.
Okay.
Number 5 for me is Nitro. Nitro, which I literally already discussed, and I'm like, oh, I didn't put it on my list.
You also love Nitro.
I remembered loving it when I
you
wrote
had
it
to
in
downplay
2009.
how much you loved it, but now you are.
It comes back at number 5, yeah, because it is long, and it is one of those.
It's long. It's all about airtime, which is my favorite, probably element of a roller coaster.
Yeah, favorite maneuver.
Yeah,
that you
maneuver.
look for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can't believe.
It's
I swear
breeze.
I swear I looked at this list when we were talking about it earlier.
It's a classic out and back, but
My mind didn't register what I was actually
it
looking at.
it feels more like what you would see for like a steel or I'm sorry, a wooden roller coaster where it's like a lot of hills,
Out and back,
out and
woods,
back.
dark, good night rides.
Yes,
I hear.
but very
Not sure if
smooth
I've
at the
experienced
time.
one.
I mean, I don't know how it's doing these days, but
Yeah,
at the time, very smooth.
that's maybe a disclaimer on some of mine I've picked. I don't know, but yeah, I did pick Nitro.
Well, that's what
I love that again. My favorite type also the B&M hypercoaster. I love the clamshell restraints. I love those little.
Me too.
restraints.
I think
They're
that makes a
awesome.
big difference. So so we've had Top Thrill Dragster on both lists. We had
Mhm.
Nitro on both lists,
Mhm.
and you did say that X2 is also going to be on your list. So we have that to look forward to. So that's 3. That's probably there might be one other overlap. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see.
Number 5 for me. You're probably going to think it's silly. You haven't done it, so you can't really speak for yourself. Space Mountain at Disney World, Magic Kingdom in
Florida.
Most people prefer the Hollywood or the California one. I prefer the one in Florida, and it's because of the way that you sit in it. It is a little bit cramped, so I can see how if you were like really tall or something.
One of them is being redone.
Yeah, I think the one in
California.
is
Because
redone.
that's the original.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
In California, it's like you sit 2 across, so it's more traditional. But in Orlando, it is only 1 per. So it's like it's 2. It's not a long train; it's just 2 cars.
Talk
But
about a long wait.
sometimes, but it's very atmospheric in there. Though.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite queues.
I can't really speak. I haven't done it.
Right. It actually might be my favorite queue of it.
Interesting.
Well, because you're in this building, so it's nice and air conditioned in there, and then it's like just all this space stuff.
I love the buildings. Love the air conditioning.
It plays music in there, like very spacey, like music in there that I like a lot. And then whenever you're in like the main area, like where you load the train, like there's some, what do you call that? And when you're snaking through the line,
Switchbacks?
yeah, switchbacks. There's some switchbacks in there, and there's like a big screen at the top, and you see like stuff flying around, like
that is
asteroid
really
and
cool.
stuff.
They would never do that at Six Flags.
Exactly, yeah. So really cool, but I really like the the way that you ride it. So especially if you're in the front,
Okay.
this is one where
A front row ride.
this is one where you're
Gets this
benefited.
placement
Yeah,
on
this is
your
one where
list.
you're benefited from the front, and so it's like three. It's two cars and three to a car, but behind it's kind of like the bobsled, I guess, if you wanted to be.
Mhm.
Except for everybody has their own seat. It's not like like the
So
bobsled.
you don't have to get
Yeah.
up in there.
No,
Crotch.
you don't know.
Okay.
Which is probably the right move since it is a children's attraction. But anyway, like it's a pretty it's old, obviously, so it's kind of a rough ride.
I've heard the turns are jerky.
It's jerky, but I think that adds to it for me.
Yeah,
especially because it's in the dark, and if you, especially if you're like realistically, if you're in the front and you're like really paying attention, you could see what you're.
Oh, really? You think so?
Well, because there's like lights in there and stuff.
Mhm.
But if you don't do that and you just kind of like let it come
Be
to
the
you,
experience.
yeah, and there's like some surprising drops in there that you might not see coming.
Yeah, I don't mind jerkiness if it's
I think that it adds
if
to,
it doesn't hurt.
it,
And it
yeah.
it's
Mhm.
part of the
The seats are pretty cushioned.
like I forgive some mine trains that are jerky.
Yeah, sure.
That's part of the charm too.
Yeah, so I really like the jerkiness of it. I think it is. I think maybe my favorite atmosphere to a ride. Maybe perhaps my number one might beat it, but I really love just everything about the theming of it. And it's definitely like realistically the track itself is probably the worst on this list, but I do like how it's a dark ride, and if you can take it with like try not to pay too close attention to it and just like be surprised, then
Yeah.
that
Well, I can't wait
it is really
till one day
fun to
get
do.
there
You
and
should.
ride it that way with the mindset of just
That's the mindset you should have. Yes.
look for the experience.
Mhm.
Let the experience
Look at all the
come to me.
stuff because there's stuff like flying around while you're
Yeah.
it's really cool. And the building it's in is
I
very
can't even really imagine. I've never done anything like that. I don't
Mhm.
think.
I know, yeah. So it's not a
Runaway Mountain is the closest I saw to
yeah.
that.
well,
There's
it's
no
not-
lighting
It's
in there.
definitely better than that. It's not a super thrilling attraction, but it is a lot of fun. So that's my number 5.
Okay,
Okay.
number 4.
Mhm.
Again, I don't know what I was saying earlier.
I gotta look up my number 4 because it's gonna be a crazy pick. But go ahead.
This is a wooden coaster.
Okay.
So I misspoke again when I was talking about the Voyage that I only picked one wooden. It's El Toro. El Toro.
I considered El Toro for
Great
my list as well.
adventure. Love the airtime.
It's so good.
Love the turnaround. I actually, this sticks out to me too at the end, the little low turns to the end and the little hooks.
Mhm, mhm.
I have heard though from recent reviews it has gotten rough, or they've been doing some work. I think it has
I did hear about
gotten better in some places.
Well, I think that also had an injury recently.
a couple years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe that might have prompted some work.
I think what is it I've heard? This may be wrong, but I think they've redone some of the hills in the beginning.
Okay.
So that part smoothed out, but I think the ending, which is part that actually to me stood out when it used to be smooth. The
Okay.
I don't even know how many degrees turn it is, like
Hmm.
180, more than 180. The low tight turns, the
Right.
little hump at the end. I love that area.
I just
The
remember
ride is-
getting a lot of airtime on that
Yeah.
ride, which is of course what they're going for with the El Toro. Like you're getting bucked by the bull. Or
So that's my last wooden roller coaster on the list.
it's a really good pick for like top wood roller coaster.
Love airtime too. That's probably what I want.
My
Roller coaster.
my next one is also my top wood roller coaster.
Okay, let's
And
hear number 4.
It
for
is,
Andrew.
I believe, no longer. It's certainly not in operation at Magic Mountain anymore, which is where it was. This was my top Magic. Nope, that's not true. It's still not my top Magic Mountain attraction.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we all better check our lists better going forward because
but-
I've said so many wrong things.
It was a wooden roller coaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain. At the time when I wrote it, it was called Terminator Salvation: The Ride.
It still exists.
Is it really? Is it
It's
still at
called-
Magic Mountain?
Yes.
That's wonderful.
I've heard it's still
On Wikipedia, it's called Apocalypse. The
yes. It is now called Apocalypse, but it's the same structure.
So-
Nothing about the ride has changed. Just
It-
some theming. Just
Ride. Oh my goodness! According to this,
it had some track work recently.
it was only Terminator Salvation: The Ride from 2009 to 2010.
Yeah.
I guess technically 2 years of operation.
I wrote it then too, but I have the credit of Apocalypse also.
Okay,
from
I
that
have not written it as Apocalypse,
then.
but I mean, I don't really give a shit about the Terminator. I did actually. That is the one movie I've seen in that franchise for some reason.
I remember the Q theming was cool.
I loved the Q theming. The fact that I was really cracked up by the fact that they say that you're at Six Flags Magic Mountain, like you're
It's
in
part
there.
of the story.
Yeah, like you're in there and you think that, it's like a traditional, they come up with a story and you're like training for, or whatever it is. You're like at some sort of like super secret bunker or something. And then they're like, yeah, we've got you on our radar. You're at Six Flags Magic Mountain. I remember thinking that was so funny. So I really loved that. I really
I'm sure that's
enjoyed.
not part of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I don't think that this ride would be as high without the theming stuff.
Well, that's a fun one. That's more of like the twister layouts that I referenced earlier when I was
Oh really?
throwing out.
Yeah.
some-
To be honest, I don't remember much
It was-
about the ride itself. I do remember feeling like it was pretty fast for a wooden roller coaster,
Yeah.
and like I definitely remember like they had some elements in the ride. There was definitely a car that exploded at one point, and I definitely remember that.
That does not exist anymore.
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
So this is based on the 2009 ride.
Yeah, realistically, this ride that I'm talking about doesn't exist anymore.
Right,
But
that's what you mean.
the
drop.
the track still does. That's cool.
People do like the drop. I
Okay.
remember the drop.
Yeah,
I remember some of the turns. I think that was probably my first station fly through. Like you fly through the station.
Yeah, I remember that being really cool. So it says here, the theme storyline focused on trainees in a post-apocalyptic setting getting trapped by attacking machines at the amusement park. And the coaster serves as transportation to a safe house location. During the ride, the train would pass by pyrotechnic fireball effects and through 3 tunnels filled with fog-like cooling mist.
This
And
is a
the- and-
description of Terminator?
Yeah,
Or
and-
Apocalypse?
Yes, the Terminator.
Okay.
And there was onboard audio as well, which
Oh, yes.
I guess I'm a sucker for that. That's a
You must- that must
that's a
be-
difference we have.
Yeah. Your list is if enthusiasts rated the audio experience the most.
Yeah.
It would match your list.
Yeah. And okay, it says the onboard audio stopped working in early 2010. At least that would Fair or place. So it didn't even have a year of because it opened in May 2009. But I guess I was in 2009 when I went, so I just hit it in that sweet spot where for that I'm telling you for that 1 year
Smooth,
it was a
fast,
really great
good
attraction. It was
audio.
at the time it was my
Working.
favorite wooden roller coaster.
Theming. I just remember like the Terminator bots in the
Yeah.
line.
Yeah, it was so cool. And like I said, the only Terminator I've seen is that movie, and I don't think it's considered the best or by any means, but I really got a kick out of that. I really like good theming, and I thought it was very funny and self-aware. So, and I like the fireballs and all that stuff.
Theming's still cool. It may still have some of the zip.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
I don't know anything about what it does now.
Then, but I think it does need some track work in some places, I've heard. But yes,
I believe it. Yeah, it was very smooth at the time.
that's your top wood coaster.
It is.
Okay. Mine's El Toro.
That's a much better pick probably for
But also assuming it's
traditional
riding.
lists. But yes.
Our number 4s are both wood that we better clarify may not have aged well with time.
Well, mine certainly didn't, but yeah, yours is probably aged better. Let's hope, because I really like El Toro a lot.
Mhm.
It's definitely a better, pure ride than Terminator.
Well, speaking of El Toro,
Okay,
segues into my number 3 for the title, at least the title.
your bronze medal.
Bronze medal. Raging Bull, I chose at Six Flags Great America in the Chicago area.
Okay, I have not. I'm
Um,
gonna have to look this up.
It's a B&M hypercoaster.
Okay.
I think is it the first one? Or it's
I
very early on in
Pulled
what
up
they
the-
did. It's from like the year 2000 or something. I actually wrote it that year it opened
okay. Here we go.
in
Raging
2000.
Bull. Oh yeah, it does look cool.
I was 7 years old.
I see a camelback. Really?
Yeah.
Is it the last time you wrote it?
No, I've
Oh.
written it again
I
since.
was gonna say that would
and
probably
it's
help.
still
Like really keep it up in your mind.
it still maintains a strong. I like that one. It's more of a varied experience from the other B&M hypercoasters because it has some more twister elements to
Okay.
it.
It says
It's
it
not
is
just
the,
an out and back. It kind of does some turns and
It is the second hypercoaster model built by Bolliger and
Mabillard.
Mabillard. Okay, and it was the tallest and longest coaster of the park. It was ride open to the public on May 1st, 1999.
So I wrote it the next year after it opened.
So that was probably
It was their second coaster or hypercoaster. What
Yes.
was their first? Does it say?
It doesn't
Or can
say.
you
I guess I
link
could
to the first.
maybe I could go to their here maybe if I just
You should be looking at our CBD.
yeah I
You can click through how things are linked together faster.
yeah I probably could
But Wikipedia has more details.
yeah
So
well is this like the list of their stuff? Apollo's Chariot.
oh yeah, that sounds like the first one.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's at Busch Gardens.
I have not experienced that one.
Really?
I have not been
Oh, right,
to
'cause
Busch
it's Florida,
Gardens.
yeah.
But
Same year really.
I'm gonna go to both Busch Gardens. They're on my bucket list.
Okay.
Oh, I want to go to those over Disney and Universal and all that stuff.
Well, I don't.
I want those big. I want the big coaster parks.
Okay,
first.
but-
I want to check those off.
Well,
first.
okay, but they're okay. Well, I won't spoil anything, but just stay tuned.
Okay.
You ready for my number 3? I believe this is going to be our final. Well, I know for a fact.
Let me say one more thing about Raging Bull.
Please.
I think it was my first
Hypercoaster.
like an especially B&M hypercoaster. Um, and
That's
because I
cool.
was so young when I rode it, that was kind of
Yeah.
before the internet almost, really. Not
1990,
not really. I had
2000,
some
yeah. Well, we
limited
were
access, some
people have to
dial-up access.
yeah, people have to
So
understand that we were probably a little behind the masses on that stuff in Leonard, Texas.
I think I also Raging Bull stands out to me just because I didn't know anything about it going into it. It's
But
also
you could see it.
airtime and some twists.
Mm.
Maybe is there a tunnel? I think on the first drop. Anyway, that's the last thing I wanted to say about
Well,
Raging
that's really
Bull.
I think that makes sense. Like when you are young and you do something like really like thrilling like that, it really sticks
And I
with
have
you.
some night rides on that one. I
Mm.
have lots of good experiences of like short waits and just getting on that one
Sure.
at night and at the end of
That's
the
always a good
day.
feeling.
Mhm.
Number three, this is our, it has to be, I would imagine. Well, no, because I guess you could have something on your list. You have perhaps X2 coming up. But number three is a repeat that was on your list.
Okay.
Is Tatsu at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Tatsu, yeah,
I-
worthy of a top three, I think.
I love Tatsu. I think the only other flying coaster I've done is the Manta, whatever.
Manta
Yeah,
at
at
SeaWorld Orlando. There's some Superman clones if you've been to
I-
the Six Flags in Georgia
I have
or
not.
Chicago
Mhm.
or Adventure. Great Adventure has a flying coaster, Superman.
It might not
It
have
was
been
there
that.
when you were there.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
it's-
maybe I guess it must be the worst one then because I didn't stick.
Or maybe it wasn't, but
It didn't stick with me.
it's not as interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, Tatsu. We kind of already talked about it. It's the last one on my list that isn't heavily themed. But it is. I
But
really
you love the theme.
I-
You love the concept.
I liked it. I like it more than it stuck out to me more than most of the ones at Magic Mountain, which are not particularly themed, except for of course Terminator Salvation. Um, but I really love that pretzel loop, like you said.
Yeah,
Really
the pretzel
awesome
loop
element.
is probably a top element
Yeah.
for anybody, for lots of people.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Okay, you're number two, silver medal.
Okay, silver medal for me. X2. I
X2.
put X2 this
What's
night.
about Magic Mountain?
At
So Magic Mountain has to be up there for you.
When you were talking about your favorite park for coasters, I would probably choose that one too, just because it does have the most. I might choose Cedar Point over it. Really,
It's a tough competition, but gosh, I mean, I really love Cedar Point as well. I think I might like Cedar Point more overall
Theming.
as a park, but because I really like the
Comparing-
coastal area of it. But then again, Magic Mountain, I liked how it was kind of like a mountain, right? Like
Yeah.
you do go up a little. I do remember
There
going
is
up the little.
there's scenery there too.
Yeah,
Good
so I
scenery.
really liked them both. California also has just really nice weather. Right?
That's true,
Has to be
yeah.
said. But so both excellent, top tier roller coaster parks for sure.
Absolutely. I would agree.
Okay, so
X2,
X2
just my favorite part about it, that first drop.
is the
I-
sound elements.
No, I actually prefer all my roller coasters without any sound.
No audio.
Yeah, I don't want any sound.
Uh,
But I just want the sound of my screams.
okay.
Um,
Yeah. Well, that is music to everyone's ears.
Which I'm actually like your dad. I can just sit there, or your stepdad. I can just sit there and ride them.
But you don't.
I like to act it out.
I know you
like
do.
to get.
I
like to
I remember that about
feel
you.
the
Just-
experience.
I
completely.
miss going to parks with you for that reason.
Yeah.
I remember when we
Not
went to-
everybody's a screamer.
Yeah, I remember when we went to over Texas, kind of on a whim.
Even if it's just like a playful fake scream.
Well, yeah,
I
like
would
you,
still
like
rather
you did on
ride that way.
on that Justice League thing. I just you were going crazy.
I remember the theming element that I loved. That was
Oh.
like overdoing it. Or
Okay.
The gas he blows on the four-wheeler and like your car spins around.
Oh yeah, I do remember a lot of spinning in there. Yeah, that was the last time that we went to a park together. It was around Christmas 2015.
Yeah.
It's because that was whenever I got to do your hill that I
This
your
is
snow
so hill.
that I had never done before.
But yeah, X2, that first drop, flipping that direction. Can't think of anything else like that. Just from laying on your back
Yeah, it's
to
awesome.
a straight up front flip,
Mhm.
facing straight down for so long,
Down,
and
yeah.
then flipping
And yeah, because
back.
it's a long drop.
I love the flips. I don't think I get tired of that coaster. It's just such a unique experience.
Mhm. And
So
like all the stuff, like we said earlier, all the stuff that these little tiny ones that they try to do to replicate that just pale in comparison to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And kind of this is one that it sticks out up here on the top of my list because it's not as airtime focused. A lot of these top ones for me are all the big airtime ones.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
X2, love those
Very cool.
40 experiences.
Okay, number two for me. This is definitely one that you've done. I don't think you've done either of my top two.
Okay, I can't wait to hear it.
My number two, however, I'm sure you have heard of it, and this is the main reason that I think that you are wrong to prioritize Busch Gardens over Universal. Number two is the Velocicoaster at Universal
Okay.
Adventure.
Yeah, I've heard lots of enthusiasts rave on about that one too.
It
Yeah.
is so. This is also an inverted, right?
No,
It's
it's
a
a launch coaster.
yes.
You sit down
Okay,
in a
well,
chair.
okay.
It,
So it's just normal seats.
your legs don't no, there's a floor under your feet.
Okay, well, I have only did it a couple times, but there
But you don't remember.
there are
The
so
track was under you.
no, I don't.
Above
But
you.
there are well, honestly, part of that is because
You twist
you
over.
twist a lot. You launch a lot. You know, it has theming with the Jurassic stuff. I don't really care about that very much. I have not seen any Jurassic Park except for the original, but
That's what I hear you. You're good.
yeah, but it is cool how like they're in there are like actually Velociraptor animatronics like in the ride
I'm
itself.
sure.
But it's the track itself that is the reason that it is
The
the
layout.
high. Yeah,
The element.
unbelievably fast, unbelievably smooth, and elements that I have not felt on any other ride. One of them is you kind of are doing, from what I remember, it's been a while since it's been a year and a half, so I don't remember exactly, but I remember like kind of like a feeling where like you were talking about with the twist where you were going kind of slow and then like you still
Hang time.
like there was
Mhm.
kind of like that, but like on a bunny hill, I guess, but like a really tall. There's like a launch, but
Yes.
it's like sort of like a delayed launch.
I know one is like a top hat,
hmm
and then
I think that's the one that I'm thinking
I
of.
don't know. I haven't studied that.
And then there's the thing that stuck out with me the
the
most,
roll at the end.
the roll at the end,
That
and
goes
like
over the water.
you hang,
Over the water. That
And-
does sound really
and
cool.
it rolls the opposite way that you expect. Like
Really-
normally you roll like to the left, right? I guess
don't-
I guess it depends.
For me, or when I'm designing roller coasters on Roller Coaster Tycoon,
Yes,
I
or
think
Legoland.
I try to just keep it the like banking the same way,
Yes,
whatever it's coming to or going out of.
and that's traditionally what you would do. But for me, I just remember
So it
riding.
turns in right, and then it goes left,
I remember, yes, I
and then
remember.
it goes back out right.
I remember feeling yes, like it was the opposite of what I
That's
expected.
interesting. That would make it thrilling.
And then yes, obviously it's not like a traditional corkscrew where you're spinning the whole time. You actually do dangle for an extended period.
It's not about whip, it's about the hang time.
Yeah, you are literally just staying
Wait.
over that thing out, like you said, over the water. Amazing element. Maybe my favorite element, single element on a roller
Overall.
coaster. Oh,
Yeah, wow.
that
Okay.
that pretzel loop would be up there as well.
Yeah.
I thought so, but I think yes,
Mine might be the X2 drop.
that's fair. That's a good pick.
Yeah.
But yes, Velasco.
Inverting drop.
Sure, I cannot. I don't know anything about Busch Gardens, so maybe they have something that would be just as good. But I don't know. Velocicoaster's awfully great. That would be tough to beat.
I also say the Busch Gardens parks because they have more coasters.
They do have more.
I could add more to my
However-
count.
Universal also has the Hulk. That's a fun ride.
That's why I would pick Universal over Disney for sure. I've studied more of the coasters.
Universal
that they
has,
have.
or the Hulk has a
launch,
a climbing launch.
Yes.
like you think it's a fake out. You think you're going to do a
lift hill.
traditional lift hill.
Really?
You're on the lift hill. You think it's traditional
Oh,
lift,
like it starts like a lift hill.
Mhm. And then you
The
launch
doesn't
out of
kick
the lift
until
hill.
later.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so yeah, I didn't.
you ruined it for me.
I'm sorry, but you probably would have noticed because like what Brandon did. So it's like it kind of so it is a dangling coaster, floorless, whatever. And so because that you can picture what that's like. Obviously, you can't see very well if you're not in the front because you just see the people
Mhm,
in front of you. But Brandon was when I did it for the first time. Brandon was on the outside, and so he was looking, and he's like the first thing you do is like a corkscrew out of the tunnel, and he was like, "Well, I don't know how we're gonna do that unless we launch out of here." And then
It did. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I always thought it started right away. I've probably watched a POV.
Sure,
Just
and
don't
it's been
remember.
there a long time. That's like an older coaster, but still pretty smooth. I
Maybe I should
say.
reevaluate the Universal.
Mhm.
I don't know. Busch
Reagan
Gardens
is a big fan. She could tell you later.
are just so pretty.
When she comes down here. She's a big Hulk fan.
So many more types of.
Oh, here she comes right now. Yeah, well, we were talking about. So we're almost at the top of our favorite roller coasters, and
I get to hear number one.
my number two.
Time.
My number two is Velocicoaster. So we were explaining that, and then also
Incredible.
see Wesley has not been to
I've
Universal
not been there.
Studios,
Ever?
No.
Oh.
and he's saying that he would rather go to Busch Gardens in Florida than Universal Studios, and so I'm explaining to him the error of his ways.
I think also the Busch Gardens parks just have like they've had standout roller coasters for longer. Like they've been on my list just before all this new stuff that Universal's doing and everything.
Mm-hmm. But I was explaining that the Hulk has been, it's just not on my list, but the Hulk has been around for a long time. It's still very good. And I said that you liked it.
Well, Velocicoaster is one of my new favorites. Absolutely.
Well,
From people
Hagrid
that
was on my list.
give away saying that.
Hagrid was on my list as well. That's
That
her.
is
That is actually Reagan's number one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I might have just been, in the honeymoon phase. We did go on our honeymoon.
Well, there's extra value to that.
Mhm.
Yes, we got to skip the line.
I told him
the
about that,
second
yeah.
time.
Yes. That's what he
Uh,
said.
Did you know that was on my list and the Dragon Challenge was on my list?
Oh.
So both in the same spot.
Well, there's a new racing coaster at Universal now.
The Stardust Racer.
Oh,
I think
really?
I mentioned at Epic
This
Universe.
is the new. Okay.
Yes, it looks awesome.
Lots of people are talking about that one too.
See, you should.
So even though our lists don't include all these cool new ones, we've talked about them and we've discussed them. So
Yeah.
anybody should be able to follow along.
Okay, so it's time for Wesley's number one.
Okay.
I don't know what it is because the last one I knew that was on his list was X2.
I think it's going to be a surprise.
that was number two. My number one is gonna be a surprise.
I think it's really underrated.
What was number two?
My number 2 was X2 at
I
Magic
knew
Mountain.
it.
Look here
Okay.
you go. All I gotta do is just look. You can read all about it, and this was still X when this was in this book. But
Show me this.
yeah, it's number 4 on that list.
Okay.
But
The flipping seats.
yeah,
I know.
I don't think you would do very well on X.
Yeah, I don't know if you mentioned
It would be nauseous, nauseating.
I told him I think that this is of all the rides I have done, I think it is the most intense roller coaster
Okay.
that I have ridden.
Well, I'll do anything with 2 Zofran and 2 Dramamine
Okay.
is the perfect formula for me.
Okay.
Except for back to back after that big spinning thing. That was
Yeah, I think what really made her sick was that when we went over Texas.
What spin
it-
thing did y'all do?
it- You know, it's the Riddler thing.
Oh yeah, it lasts a long time.
It does, yeah.
so long.
Yeah, so she did not do well on that back to back with the Judge War screen.
It's hot.
That could do it. Yeah, the heat and standing in that line for the Riddler.
Yeah, it's
Riddler
not,
always has a line.
it's not
for me.
pleasant. Yeah. Well, it's because it's a long ride, so even if you're next, it's
Okay, and
a long
a separate tangent.
Okay.
I actually prefer the smaller spinning pendulums to the big ones.
That's right. I remember that you liked these.
The frisbee. I loved Fiesta
Mhm.
Texas, that old school, the Huss frisbee, the little one.
Yeah.
But it was more about the spinning.
Yeah.
But now the popular thing is build these real big ones. That's all about the height and the speed.
But that's how the giant swing was.
But I don't like.
You liked the giant swing.
I do like the giant swing, but then I'd rather. Then what's the point of the spinning?
Yeah.
That's why I prefer the other little ones because they
Mhm.
focus. I like this. I like feeling that spinning while you're going back and forth.
Mhm.
What about
Okay.
like a teacup?
Oh, I absolutely love teacups.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Number one.
honorable mentions to flat rides. Love the spinner.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay,
What's his
My number one.
I'm ready.
is Goliath at Six Flags Over Georgia,
Okay.
which is a B&M hypercoaster.
Another Goliath. That's so funny that I complained about that earlier.
Yeah, I don't mind the name, but
Well, what we were talking about is like Six Flags has so many Goliaths and they're all different rides.
yes, don't mind the name or the theme.
So this is at, where'd you say, at Georgia?
Yes, Six Flags Over Georgia, Goliath. It's a B&M hypercoaster. Actually, it may not even be.
It
over
looks like the
200
Titan
feet.
on the color scheme, orange and blue.
But this one also kind of just surprised me. I don't know the airtime. It's just airtime.
It's got a 540-degree helix.
Now that's what people talk about at the turnaround.
Okay.
It's basically an out and back, but the turnaround has a more unique element than some of the other
That does look cool.
B&M hypercoasters. That turnaround
Mm-hmm.
helix is fast paced, kind of intense. Now I haven't ridden it since I've only been one time in 2006
Wow.
Wow.
So a really long
or
time.
maybe 2008.
Mhm.
Somewhere 6, 7, or 8, somewhere in there. So I don't know if it would really still rank at number 1 if I wrote it today. I don't know how it's writing, but
Sure.
if I had to pick, it's nothing too flashy or fancy, but like just my favorite type of roller coaster. It's my
Mhm.
favorite type.
Lots of
Airtime,
That's our
fun turnaround with some twisting laterals,
hmm
bunny hops, lots of airtime.
I love a bunny
Love
hop.
those clamshell restraints. So that's just like my quintessential. Like if I had to pick, maybe not the most thrilling, but if I had to just pick one that I could only ride ever for the rest of my life, I'd pick that one.
I did not know that.
Well,
that's-
Georgia, we can hit that on the way when we drag you to Universal.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, it's right. You just did a little stop off there. Wesley has been to all of the Six Flags in the United States.
That is
I have-
awesome.
Yeah.
I've only done Texas. Done Texas and Pop.
They're good ones. The Texas ones we're lucky.
Yeah,
to
we
have.
compared them at the beginning of the podcast. We discussed
Mhm.
over Texas and Fiesta Texas. And Wesley prefers Fiesta Texas, but you said that you liked the coaster lineup at over Texas more.
Okay.
I think it's fair.
It's pretty close, but I think the options at Over Texas are more unique.
That's for sure.
That's what I'll say.
Like, because I
Besides
really,
the Batman clown.
I mean, my favorite
and the Joker clown.
right? Yeah, the new stuff basically.
That's my first loop ever. Well,
Really, mine was a Shockwave. What was your first loop?
Probably the Shockwave.
Mhm, yeah.
it might have been the Shockwave.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
Is it true that the Shockwave was the tallest roller coaster in the world?
I think when it opened, yeah.
Isn't that
Dude,
amazing? What is it, like 100 feet? Let me look it up.
Kind of shoved in the back corner there.
No, it's like 100 and
There it is.
I don't know.
Texas. My mom remembers when this was installed.
78 or 79.
It was 78. You're right. He's as good with roller coaster debuts as I am with like other stuff. It is.
Yeah, the years.
It is 116 feet.
Okay.
So there you go. And it is
Love those forceful
one of a kind, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
A Schwarzkopf. Schwarzkopf. What? How do you say that?
yeah, Wars Cop.
Schwarzkopf. Yeah.
It is my number 3 at Over Texas.
It would be high for me.
Yeah.
It would be high for me for
Love
sure.
that airtime.
Wesley's number one at Over Texas is the new Texas Giant.
Oh,
Mhm.
what did you say?
My number one is Mr. Freeze. But my number one overall, are you ready?
Yes, I can't wait to hear the uniqueness of this.
You definitely
Labeled it for me.
you definitely have not
before
done
you
it.
came.
It is called Journey to Atlantis at
SeaWorld Orlando.
Mm-hmm. And it's been so long since I've done it, and it is like, ah man,
When did you do it?
I don't actually remember. I think it was probably, geez, I think it was pre 2010. Like I might have
Wow.
been like
Okay,
early
yeah.
high school or late middle. It was obviously when I did the Kraken as well, which is like right next to it.
Yeah.
But the Kraken is a ride where you can, you see it and you can kind of see what it's going to be like. But the Journey to Atlantis is completely indoors.
Yes.
And so
I know about it.
I had no idea what it was going to be like. Also, apparently it opened in like 2000 or 1999 or something. It's 1998, it says. So it would have been extremely technologically advanced at the time.
Too bad the Journey to Atlantis at San Antonio
Ah.
World isn't like that.
No, it's literally you go up and then you do a little drop and then like you do the big drop and that's it.
The one at while we're on the one at San Antonio real quick, because that one was closed when I made a visit earlier this year. That's what's keeping me from being at 250. And I visited again, but I don't want that Journey to Atlantis to be my
That's so
250.
funny. That's so hilarious that you have
It is
never
funny
done
that
that.
I'm purposefully waiting out that one right now while it's your number one at a different.
Yeah, but not
Park.
that. That one would be far down the list. But I mentioned earlier.
You love the theming.
Well, yes, it's my favorite theming of any roller coaster that I have done. It's completely original. Like they come up with a story with like this. I don't remember a ton about it, but there's like this kind of guy that's going through this, and he was like they build him up in the line, and then he's a constant character throughout the ride, kind of like what you were talking about with what's her name,
Dr. Diabolical.
Yeah, there you go, Dr. Diabolical. But I mentioned earlier that I really love water rides, and so it mixes
Yes.
water theming in with it, water elements in with it. So it's basically a dark ride, but it's a roller coaster at the same time.
Mhm.
And
And not a gimmick like the other installations of Journey to Atlantis.
right, yeah, totally. And it was one of those situations where I just going into it, I just had no idea.
That's awesome.
What it was going to
When
be.
it's a surprise.
Yeah, none whatsoever. I'd never heard of it. Like we were walking by and it said, "Okay, Journey Atlantis. I guess we'll do that next. That's the next thing right here in this.
Wow.
in this area."
That still leaves a lasting impression. in
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, and apparently it had it says in March 2017, SeaWorld greatly altered the ride's theme. So I don't know, like how different it is
Mhm.
now.
Well, I was just reading over your shoulder that originally it had mixed reviews because of complaints that it was too scary for kids, much like Magic Kingdom Snow White Adventures.
Oh.
Which I was scared of.
That was scary. So I don't remember SeaWorld this
Being
this-
scary.
No, but I do. That Snow White ride was horrifying.
Yeah.
Disney World. Yeah.
Although I was scared of everything after the Tower of Terror. I was.
Well, yeah, that would be scarring for a child as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's probably not as cool.
it's also really long. Like I looked
Yes,
right
the
before
length.
right before you came. I looked up because I was actually when you knocked on the door whenever I was in the middle of watching it, so I didn't actually make it all the way through it. But I was watching it to remind myself, and the video was more than 6 minutes long.
Wow.
And it's because it is sort of it's kind of like the Mummy that I was talking about earlier. That was also on my list. That where it is sort of a mix of dark ride and roller coaster, and so it's for that reason, and with the
And water ride.
as well. Yeah,
I like
and so for that reason,
3 rides in one.
yeah, for that reason, a roller coaster for 6 minutes would be like probably too long, but
No.
because of all, but
Spinning the whole time. I'm good.
Yeah.
because of like
Yeah.
all of these other elements, it just mixes everything I like about rides into one attraction. And the fact that I think that it gets extra points for being original as well. Like
Yeah.
it's not based on
Why
any
didn't they do that
IP.
again?
Mhm.
Someone has explaining to do. Why that doesn't exist
That
for the
that must
other
be that must have just been a laziness.
Journey to Atlantis.
I'm sure it was
Save
much
money.
cheaper. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. A capitalism choice. Um,
Well, SeaWorld isn't known for its fantastic decision making.
Right.
well,
Sorry, I wasn't going to say it.
No,
yeah, Reagan is a SeaWorld hater.
Sorry.
there were people protesting. We just
Out there, here it's Texas.
Yeah, just this year, people were standing out there
It's
at the
unbelievable.
front gate, like, don't buy a ticket.
Yeah,
And it definitely, I get what they're saying. We're just trying it out this year. We don't plan on renewing our pass.
yeah.
Okay.
Just trying it out because we haven't been
So-
in such a long time.
But then surely you're gonna get to Orlando this year then with your pass.
No, we just bought the one for San Antonio only because
Oh,
it was
okay.
cheaper, and I
Yes.
couldn't decide what I.
How
'Cause-
far is San Antonio from where you are?
Well, we're trying to plan a New York trip right now
Right.
because I did say we could do this other thing and do Florida too, but just trying to rein it in a little bit.
Okay.
Sure.
So we're prioritizing New York.
But how long
Wait
is it?
until we can afford to go with you to Universal.
Oh,
and
Yes, and all that Florida
Well,
stuff.
that would
I
be-
need to add all that Florida stuff.
That would be quite an experience. But how long does it take you to get to San Antonio from Lubbock?
Yes, I live in Lubbock. It takes me 5.5
Okay.
hours
Long-
to get to
long
Dallas
time.
or San Antonio.
So it's like the same.
They're about equal.
Okay.
San Antonio might be slightly further, but not really Six Flags because you come in on that side of town.
Okay.
So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Fair.
About 5.5
Okay.
to their metro areas, both.
Right.
I was just there like last week. Well, we stayed in Kerrville, but we dropped off my brother at bird camp in San Antonio.
Yeah.
None of the fun stuff. We just enjoyed the river in Kerrville. It was fantastic. Highly recommend.
That's still
There it
enjoyable.
is. There's they all share a Wikipedia page, so look at the intricacy, the
Yes.
huge building.
Yeah,
you
even
can't-
just the building.
You can't even really tell what's going on in there, which is how it was in the ride as well. And then all these rest of these are just there's the San Diego one. I don't know
Mhm.
anything about that.
San Diego one is second step up,
And then
and then that
San Antonio.
one at San Antonio is a joke.
It's not even. It's like Aquaman.
It looks cool to watch it. Yeah, I actually really like Aquaman. I
Yeah.
like the launches on it.
Well, I mean, like
The new ones
I
that
meant
you haven't
I meant
had.
the old Aquaman.
Oh,
You'd go
the
up,
splash.
yeah, you go
The
down and
splash
the
boats.
splash. Yeah, that's it.
I like a splash though.
I like the new one with the launch. The one they have.
Yeah, I think that does look really cool.
Actually, the launch makes it thrilling. You get moments of weightlessness.
No, it sounds awesome.
Mhm.
I'm very interested in that. I think we were actually there like the day it opened when Reagan made us.
But you haven't gotten on it.
No, because Reagan,
Well, they
Reagan got sick.
Yet they were.
Yeah, they were testing.
Testing.
Yeah, yeah. We were there we were going to be there all day. We got there early and it just didn't work out. Anyway, that
Yeah. Any other topics?
I don't think-
any weird things we noticed.
on each other's
Or
list.
let's finalize the ones we had on the list.
You want to go through them? real
Were there
fast?
3?
Oh yeah, so
Top Thrill Dragster.
Top Thrill Dragster, Tatsu,
Tatsu.
Nitro.
Nitro.
I think that's it.
X2.
Were those your crossovers?
I thought I said that. X2, Nitro, Tatsu,
Top Thrill.
Top Thrill. Right. Okay. So 4. Yeah, we had 4 crossovers.
4.
More than I expected.
Yeah, honestly. That's a good comparison. Good
Mhm.
sharing.
Yeah. But let's see.
So that's mine. It's very varied. Lots of different types.
Yeah, I knew Wesley's was going to be more varied because he's done more than double the roller coasters that I have. But it is interesting that we
Those
do.
same top few are usually, it's not hard to find other people with the same top ones. There's some pretty standout ones up there.
Well, yeah, like you see Velocicoaster and
X2.
a lot of
Oh yeah, a lot.
X2, you see
Especially
a lot
new
of
people that keep up with all the new stuff.
But we haven't neither of us had what is that Cedar Point thing that everybody loves so much?
Oh, Still Vengeance.
Neither of us had
is
Still
a-
Vengeance.
Is a big.
But you've
shout
done
out to
Still
those people.
Vengeance.
No, I haven't.
Oh, well.
I've done.
Neither have I.
I've done Mean Street
Okay.
when it was the old beat up Woody.
Right. Okay.
But those are
I
still
think
fun, too.
I don't even know. I think I did
sure
Mean
you did
Streak.
it.
I think I did Mean Streak, yeah. It didn't stick.
It had no line.
It didn't stick out to me, yeah. Yeah, so I think we've pretty much touched on. So in terms of other ones that because there were some of my honorable mentions that you had on there. I mentioned the Kraken. I mentioned the Rattler. That was a top. I have not
The
done,
original
I have not
Rattler.
done the updated one, but I loved the original.
Some people actually have Iron Rattler as a very high ranked coaster.
It-
I picked
I believe it. The original was great. So
I picked New Texas Giant over it just because it's longer. It lasts longer.
Sure.
I feel like Iron Rattler. I love Iron Rattler, but it's over too quickly.
Mhm.
Too quick.
Yeah, Fire in the Hole was an honorable mention. El Toro was an honorable mention. Magnum XL 200 was an honorable mention, which we mentioned. Gatekeeper was an honorable mention. That was on Wesley's list.
Did you talk about that Tron ride?
No.
Yeah,
oh
we
yeah,
did.
I mentioned
He did.
I mentioned
My
it for
parents have done
unique
it.
because I really enjoy unique seating in rides.
The seating was definitely the best part.
Yeah.
Honestly,
But it's over really fast.
But your wait list the whole time, which takes
'Cause
away
you just
the
feel so
sensation. Like
Weird.
it was too
It's extraordinarily
smooth.
extraordinarily smooth, extraordinarily over quickly.
really like over in a flash. That's what made me
And
think
we
of it.
did wait for a long time for it.
I
so.
think in a lot of mine, when it was coming down to one or the other, I usually picked the longer experience.
Yeah.
Besides Top Fuel Dragster.
Sure.
Maybe Storm Runner is kind of short, but all of my other ones are pretty lengthy. That's what I'm looking for.
Me too.
Just like,
And except for I also had Top Fuel Dragster on my list as well. So
a
it
good
is interesting.
experience.
Sometimes
We want those long experiences.
usually you want
Keep
long
it coming.
experiences, but
Keep the airtime hills
Yeah.
coming.
Top Thrill is just it's too good.
That amazing launch is
Yeah.
noteworthy.
And we'll never do it again the same way.
Right. Right.
So now it'll be a longer experience and maybe we'll like it better.
It's an advantage of water rides with what are they called? River rides. Those things
They
can
have-
go on for like 30
They
minutes.
can take a long time.
And then you just have like little rapids and whatever. Maybe we can do a water ride sequel.
A water ride. Oh my gosh, I would struggle to make the list, but I know that number one would be Splash Mountain, and probably that Atlantis ride would maybe be number two. I just remember just being so like that was definitely the ride that I did where I was just totally blown away by the experience, knowing nothing going in. It definitely exceeded my expectations the most of any ride I have done, I think. So
You know what should really be an honorable mention is that Jurassic Park ride at Universal.
well, that's a water ride.
We did that thing. I don't know.
It's just
6
it's
times.
a little boat
There's
ride.
no line.
Yeah, it's old, so it doesn't.
Those classics are good too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It has a good
E.T.
drop at the end.
It's a nice little fun classic.
Yeah, it's from the only I think surviving ride from the original
Oh,
lineup
wow.
at Universal
That's-
Studios, and it shows.
Well, but that's worth riding then, just for that fact
Definitely,
alone.
it is very cool.
See, like you have to buy. Now it doesn't have the thrill of something. I mean, Velocicoaster is the perfect roller coaster in terms of balance and has everything you want.
Yeah.
It's good for a nauseous person like me. I didn't feel anything at all.
Really? Because it's just quick. It's over quick. Or
Just the smoothness.
The way they
Smooth.
created, I don't know. It's like they mastered their craft.
Yeah,
without-
yeah.
Who did that? Who did the Velocity?
Intamin.
Okay.
I was gonna say, looking back at the list, Intamin, I just have Top Thrill Dragster and Storm Runner.
Intamin, they're big on the launches, right? They're a big launch coaster company.
Yeah. Some of the accelerator coasters.
Let's see who did Mr. Freeze.
Oh, El Toro. Intamin did El Toro.
Oh, that's
actually.
interesting.
It's prefabricated wood.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the one for me it comes up most is B&M.
Premiere did. Yeah.
For me is Bollinger and Mabiard is
Right.
the top one probably.
B&M,
But-
RMC are highly
Three,
regarded.
Here's B&M.
4. I think
B&M,
they're Swiss.
these are
They're manufacturers.
yeah, these are manufactured.
Oh,
People that
okay.
people that make the and design the roller coasters.
I don't know the lingo.
Yeah, I don't actually know who made most of mine. Premiere made Mr. Freeze. I was curious.
And the mummy that you have.
Oh,
on
did
there,
they?
too?
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love the Mummy. Okay, well, that was fun. I enjoyed your list. I have new things to shoot
Yeah.
for my own bucket list.
This has influenced my next priority I want to get out
That's
to as
good.
well.
Thanks for being on the show. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You mentioned at the beginning I love musicals, so bring me back if you want to do
To rank
one of,
musicals?
musicals.
What do you think of-
You need to be there after that episode. I'll
Okay,
host.
okay.
Yeah, Reagan-
Reagan and I can do the
Reagan really
musical.
enjoys musicals. I have
Oh, good.
seen Hamilton.
I was gonna say, have y'all even seen the Wicked movie?
Yeah, I have.
My new favorite movie.
But you haven't seen the show.
No, but Reagan has
Movie.
Reagan hasn't seen the Broadway.
Watch Wizard of Oz before we watch part 2.
Yes,
I've seen.
You have.
I've
You
seen
need to
the-
watch that.
I've seen the Wizard of
It's like
Oz.
5.
No, it's been more recent than that. Probably high school or middle school.
There's middle school. For
But yes, maybe there's a musical sequel coming or a water ride sequel coming or something else. But
Okay,
I'm in.
perhaps. But in the meantime, you can write to the show at ControlledBurnes with an ES at gmail.com because my last name has an ES. And if you like the show, you can subscribe, follow, like, review wherever you listen to your podcast. But for now and until next time, keep it warm.
Keep it warm.
Thank you.